All right, welcome to the Grown Up Show, everybody. Where being a grown up is always up for debate. My name is Danny Barros, alongside my longtime buddy Anthony Hall.
What's up?
Episode 9, man. I'm excited. I feel like we got a pretty good show in store. You know, of course, we're going to review a nice little beer, check in. Might dive in a little bit of what's on the grill, do a little barbecue talk. I mean, that's right up there, the dad life and summertime and all that good stuff. We definitely might touch a little bit on sports, but we've got some burning set of questions. They're more like unanswered questions, like tons and tons of life's mysteries. And some of them you might think are simple. Some of them are pretty complex. And I think lastly, we might touch on some awkward encounters, dude. You ready?
Yeah, man. You know what I kind of felt? I feel like we have an awkward encounter every time we start this. I just realized that every single time you do the intro and introduce me, I go, "What's up?" Every time. What's up? I'm gonna change it next week.
It's pretty awkward.
I think. I think for episode 10, I'm gonna change it up. I'm gonna do something else. It's gonna be spur of the moment, and I'm probably gonna regret it.
I think you should just like make it a thing now, like so obvious. Like every episode has to be something completely off the wall.
Like maybe episode 10, I'll go, "Heyo."
Yeah, and then it has to be something completely different at 11.
Hey, I don't know.
It'll be something people look forward to, I'm sure.
I literally, as I said it, I was like, I say that every single week, and I think I say it almost the exact same way. What's up?
I say the intro every single week the exact same way.
But maybe that's like
we're even, bro.
But maybe maybe that's our thing though. Like maybe I don't change it. I don't know. I'm just, I ramble.
Who knows? Well, I mean, let's talk about it over a beer, man. How about that?
I like
that. Let's get into it. What are you drinking this week?
So I actually, ever since last week telling my motorcycle story, it's made me realize how much I miss motorcycles to the point where I've just had these weird little moments all week, dude. Like I swear to God, computers creep me out. I'm a big computer nerd, but like just how like you look something up and then all of a sudden your shit's swamped with ads for that thing,
Oh, dude,
like, I haven't looked anything up. Sure. Like we talked, I told that story and that was it. And then the next day I get like this ad about like some motorcycle sale or something in the area. And then
it's funny you bring that up. I have to interrupt you for this one real quick. Yeah. So like my wife, obviously like our Amazon account, like we both have it on our phone, right? But like sometimes the things my wife like looks up, then I'll go to like my Instagram and all of a sudden it's like I'm seeing things that she just looked up on Amazon, like in my Instagram feed, and it has like nothing to do with who I am or what I would ever buy for myself.
Pink flip-flops? No, actually you would buy pink flip-flops. That was a bad example.
It's almost just like, God damn you, like, a bunch of cookie trackers and all that stuff,
Yeah.
But anyway.
Yeah, so I don't know. Like I saw this ad for motorcycle sale, and then I don't know. I've just been like reminiscing, looking at old stunt riding photos and stuff. It just made me realize how much I missed motorcycles. But then there was something else I can't think of that was like kind of weird. But the weirdest one, I was doing my my weekly Safeway adventure, and I usually like I walk by. I don't like go down the beer aisle that much because at the very end they have, in my Safeway up here, they have like
an end cap,
like unique like beers, right? That's usually one of the most common places I get my beers from every week because they kind of change them up. They have their usuals, but they change them up too. Yeah. But for some reason, dude, I was just like, you know what? They hadn't been changing them too much lately. I was like, I'm just gonna walk down the aisle and check out some Six Packs because they have a ton of different beers that are not like just your Budweisers and stuff, but like local.
I would imagine, beers. Yeah, your average run of the mill Safeway in Portland, considering the amount of breweries around you, is going to be a little different than your Safeway, let's say, in Sacramento.
Yeah, yeah, it's not like like normally it's like all your standard Budweisers, your Coors, your Coronas, and all that, and then there's like that little section of like local brewery beers. My Safeway, it's like kind of half. Like half of it, the aisle is your standard beers, and the other half is local beers. So I just like, I walked down and check it out, and I came across these, and it's just like it was a must. It's just weird, but this is from this is Boneyard Beer. It's in Bend,
Yeah.
Oregon, and the name of the beer is literally Hop a Wheelie IPA.
Nice, dude.
Um,
That's just one of
so
those, regardless of what it was, you're
yeah,
gonna buy
it was like a
anyway.
total
Yeah.
sign. So I don't know anything. I honestly never even have heard of this brewery yet.
Yeah, Boneyard's a good brewery.
Is it?
Yeah,
Oh,
they
okay.
made their way down here.
Oh, nice. I've never experienced it, but I figured. I mean, I kind of had to. I had to. It was like a must, you know.
Yeah.
So it's a little guy. It's only a 12 ounce.
What's the vitals on it though? If it's a 12 ounce, it might be a little.
It's a 7.
Okay.
7%. It doesn't have the IBUs, but I feel like usually it's like pretty close to like the ones I've been drinking lately. If it's like 6.8%, it's like 68.
Decent. Yeah.
Like I'm assuming it's probably around the 70 mark. I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah.
Let's see if it tastes like a wheelie. If it tastes like a wheelie, it's gonna taste like dirt. But so maybe let's not hope it tastes like a wheelie.
No, it should put the same smile on your face as a wheelie does.
Yeah. Ooh, that's good. No bite. Kind of weird. Doesn't have that hoppy bite.
Is it just a standard IPA, or is it like a hazy IPA, or does it say?
It just says Hop a Wheelie IPA.
What is it like? It has like some verbiage on there. Does it have like a little blurb about
Let it be known. Oh man, it's so dark in this room. I have the wrong lighting on.
Dude, party foul.
Party foul. Let it be known, an elusive creature lurks on the desolate, remote highways, driven by only one desire. Dare you challenge him in his quest for hops? Earthy, piney, and citrus hops compose. I know how to read. This font is really stupid. Earthy, piney, and citrus hops compose the aromas and flavors of Hop a Wheelie. With a clean, crisp finish, there's nothing left to desire. I'm not gonna lie, it's good. It just kind of tastes like a stronger Coors Light to me, though.
Okay.
It just it doesn't have
probably
any
more
like,
standard West Coast.
Yeah, like nothing really pops out to me. But I'm gonna drink it. That's for sure.
Nice, dude. All right. Well, you're connecting your motorcycle world. I'm gonna connect my TV binge watching world with the fabulous Breaking Bud.
Oh my god. Okay, dude, you're fucking blowing my mind right now. That is the thing you've done to me in a while. Okay, I have to cut you off now. That's fine. Fucking weird, dude. Oh my god. Yo, I need to show you this on my phone right now. Oh, it's too late. Okay, I'm tripping out right now. I'm gonna tell you why. So we had our 6-year anniversary a couple years ago. I think we were at 8, and we went to this, I forget, it was some steakhouse on Embarcadero. I'm not gonna think of the name, but the food is actually kind of mediocre. But I had a Breaking Bad beer, and I freaking love Breaking Bud. Yeah, I loved it, dude. I loved it, and I had this thing. Actually, it wasn't. What was it? It had to have been something else because it wasn't our anniversary. Because I don't know. I got like the whole like flashback. Yeah, maybe something. I don't know. But I got the flashback 2 days ago. What month is this? Maybe it was just like a date night.
We're in August now.
Yeah, maybe it was just a date night, or we celebrated something with Jen's work or something. But anyways, off subject. I got, like you get those like look back a year kind of things on Instagram and Facebook and shit.
Yeah, your memories and stuff.
Yeah, so it popped up and it had that beer in it, and it was a picture of me that I took of that beer, the Breaking Bud. And 2 days ago. This is 2 days ago. But dude, the last 2 days I've been looking for it because I was like, I want one of those beers and I want it for the show. Yeah. So I was like, because it was really good, and I haven't had it in a long time, and I want it. So you pulling that out right now is like just so weird, dude.
I beat you to the punch, dude.
Oh man, you need to mail me one of those, man. I want one of those so bad.
I will.
Because I went to their site and I looked at where their like distributors are. Yeah, and it's way down. Like the closest one to us is either I think it's up in Seattle or way down on like that very edge of Oregon. So it's like not worth it for me right now.
Yeah, no, they're
trippy, dude.
This is from Knee Deep Brewing Company up in Auburn, California, and I mean another killer brewery that distributes heavily here in the Bay Area, where their beers are in abundance around here. The Breaking Bud is pretty easily for me to get, and I've had quite a bit of it. It's one of my faves. I love it.
Yeah, dude, that's a good beer, man.
For sure, dude. It's just a standard,
God, I'm
true
tripping
West
right now.
Coast IPA. I think it's 6.5%. But I mean, it's sort of true to the name. I mean, it's another sort of cannabis reference for for good reason. I mean, it definitely, like, that's the flavor that I go for. I go for the dankiness of the beer, and I use that term dank a lot when I talk about my beer, because it's like has this smell and sort of that like you know
Yeah.
THC sort of taste in your mouth, so it kind of
I have
bridges the
no
gap
idea
a
what you're
little bit.
talking about, Daniel. What is THC?
That's a delicious
I know,
beer.
no, that's a good. Oh, I'm
Pops
tripping right now, dude. I'm tripping that
50
you just pulled that
IBUs.
out, man.
It's killer. They've got another new one out that I've been trying. It's called True Citra, and then which is just packed obviously with Citra hops, and then they've got a triple IPA called Simtra that's like 11%. That's just phenomenal. It's like it's an 11% beer that tastes like an 8% beer. It's crazy. It's dangerous, but yeah, it's fun.
God.
Anyway, so how you guys been holding up? Another week sheltering in place.
We're good. We actually, I kind of hit my limit today a little bit. We, so for dinner, there's like this little diner down the street from me called Skyline, because I literally moved from Pacifica to Pacifica, like one of the main streets down the road is Skyline. So it's Skyline Diner. We grabbed me and the big kids grabbed a couple burgers. Then we just drove down to this like little. It's like there's this strip that we drive down a lot, and it's like it's a street. It's just a street. It's not like anything spectacular, but the right side is just like this wide grassy strip. But it oversees all of Beaverton. It's beautiful. So we just pulled up, parked. I grabbed their little lawn chairs, and we just went over, sat on the grass, ate dinner, and just enjoyed. Like, it's super sunny and nice out. Just getting outside and just getting them not just outside, but away from the house good, dude. Too. So yeah, because they've been cooped up here for a couple of weeks now. So we did that, and then I'm actually I got my approval today. I'm kind of excited that in 2 weeks, a week. I'm taking my last 2 weeks of paternity leave. I took my paternity leave short for
you're like splitting it up a little bit.
Yeah. I mean, it's kind of weird. Like I don't like to talk about it in detail on the podcast because I don't want it to affect my career, but I have a job that I just do meaningful work. So it's actually, and it's something I really enjoy doing. And I get to help actual people. So it's hard for me to be away from it for long periods of time. So I didn't want to take the full 8 weeks. We get 8 weeks up here. I didn't want to take the full 8 weeks at once. I actually, my original plan was to do 4 weeks and then 4 weeks later, or 4-2-2. But then I extended it to 6 because we had
just needed it. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, my wife, not to get into super detail, but she had some pretty brutal clotting after birth. So, I mean, I can tell us real quick. So my first 2 kids were C-sections. And it's like Nate was a failed induction, and we always kind of questioned their methods on how they tried to induce labor. And then it just got to a point, like, my wife was in labor for, I think it was almost 3 days. It was failed induction. It was brutal. Gnarly. He did have a huge head, and there's been the question of if his head would even have passed. He does. And it was like that since birth, like without the juicy details, like when she was going through the C-section, the doctor actually had to get up and like Heimlich him out of her. They had to cut the incision a little bigger because his head is really big. He's growing into it, but it's been huge since day one. So I remember you guys got
him an adult bike helmet when he was first trying to
when he was 2 years old. Yeah, we got him the small adult size. But
it's my size, by the way.
Pretty much, dude. So he there's always been like the discussion on if his head would have even passed through her pelvic bone. So, but how it worked at the hospital down there is, the second it if he didn't come by the due, if Luke didn't come naturally by the due date, it was automatic C-section. They don't mess around, which is most common, pretty common. And then up here, we talked to the doctor, and Jen really wanted to discuss natural birth, and they're very open to it here, even after C-sections and everything.
Right.
And she actually did. Jack was natural birth, which was really cool. And it was a big deal for my wife because it was something she always wanted to do.
Yeah, not a lot of people get to do the VBAC.
Yeah. So
it's
it was really
a big accomplishment.
Yeah. So it was something that was really important to her and successful. But she did have some pretty brutal hemorrhaging after the fact.
Oh no.
I won't get into details, but there was some scary moments with it. So her recovery was just a little different. So I decided to extend it to 6 weeks, and then now I'm finally taking the last 2 weeks. So I'm excited because I'm gonna get the boys. I'm gonna order some scooters. I gotta check in with you again after the show about that. Order them some new scooters. I just need to get them out. So we're gonna. It's kind of morbid.
Take them to a couple skate parks, dude. Just let them check out some other kids, and like that's how they'll learn. They'll just they'll see it and feed off of them,
Yeah, I'll look into that. I was gonna say it's kind of morbid, but we live down the street like a half a mile from a cemetery, but the cemetery has this huge, massive, empty parking lot that a lot of people take their kids to go learn how to ride bikes and stuff. So I think I'm just gonna take them down there and just go to town.
Yeah, for sure.
So it's gonna be a little surprise. So yeah, but my weeks. But besides that, just the same old stuff. Getting, Call of Duty Season 5's out. I'm getting you hooked on video games. We've been doing that a little bit.
I have been dabbling quite a bit.
Yeah.
Into the COD world.
You're changing, bro.
It's sucking me in.
Yeah, it's fun.
Slowly. Man. It's fun. It is a lot of fun. I'm enjoying it, dude.
Yeah. But that's pretty much it. Got Nate. We got him this cool little kind of like sit to stand desk because he's actually gonna at the least start the school year 100% from home. They're shutting it down up here.
Yeah, they did the same thing here. I mean, basically they gave us two options. Like, do you want to do like everyone's on mandatory distance learning at least for like the start, and then their hope is to like eventually transition either back to school or somewhat hybrid, like a few days a week or sort of in shifts. Or the other option is just completely just opt out and do like a homeschool year,
Yeah.
And that's what we chose. We chose to just opt out. Just so there's no really like, not a whole lot of back and forth or if this or it's like we just like we're out for a year, and kind of looking forward to a little bit of the freedom. Like we could just pick up and go and go to Tahoe for a week or do this or that, and we'll still be doing the learning, the distance learning for wherever we're at.
Yeah.
And then it keeps their spots at the school next year too, if we choose to go back and all that.
That's good. That's good that they do that. Yeah, we had options like that too. We just personally, we kind of like the structure, and the more, obvious knowledge that a teacher has on teaching compared to us. So, and the way they're designing it's pretty legit. So we're just going to do the virtual schooling. But so we just got him like this little cool little cheap little desk that's adjustable so he can sit and then stand. He's pretty excited about it.
He's probably hella jazzed. Yeah.
Yeah. Actually, right before we started up, I was doing a little research because I'm going to start getting him to learn how to type because he's, a lot of it's going to be on the computer.
Yeah, you might as well.
And I mean, why not start him now? And the kid
it's a good way to learn
like
how to
no
spell.
Other. Yeah. Well, he can read like no other, so might as well get him going.
Yeah, I'm sure it won't be too difficult for him.
Yeah. Yeah. That's pretty much it for me though, man.
Nice, bro.
Yeah. What about you?
Oh, just going through life's paces. I mean, took a little different course this week. A few things. Few cool things. Went on instead of running, went on a mountain bike ride yesterday, which is pretty fun.
I saw that.
Yeah, I went with my buddy Sean, who Sean.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, he's been getting into it heavily over the last, couple years, at least the several months, hardcore. He started his own YouTube channel and stuff of like filming himself and just having fun. I was like, yeah, dude, I'm gonna have to jump in with you one of these days. And it's like, all right, man. So he's been hitting me up and I was like, all right, I gotta do it. And like, we got so many nice hills here in Pacifica, Montero Mountain, and a lot of good trails to choose from. And a lot of guys have built some really cool jumps out there, and some pretty cool little trails and courses where, I mean, it's nice to take advantage of it, man. And I've done it before, but it's been at least over a year since I've really gotten out there up on the mountain.
Hmm.
Been doing a lot of riding with the kids and not, really doing a lot of that stuff, which, it is what it is. But it was cool. It was refreshing to get out there and just, sort of charge at it for a little while. And it was fun. We had a lot of fun.
Nice.
And then, yeah, aside from that, just been, working from home still, and I've been helping my parents a little bit pack up. They're heading out pretty soon. They sold their house, moving up to Oregon, so not a whole lot. And then,
When's that official? Like when do they officially ship out?
like the middle of this month, like like 10 more days or something like that.
You
So
you handling it okay?
yeah, I mean, I'm excited for them. I know that this is something that they've been looking forward to, and it's going to open up a lot of doors for them to, do some more traveling, which they're really into, and it's going to keep them closer to some of the other family that we have that's moved up there, and my mom's parents who are sort of aging and need some more assistance. So it's going to be good, sort of all around, you know.
Yeah.
Um, and then, too, they're gonna have a nice place with a lot of property. They're gonna put a pool in, stuff like that. So we're gonna have a nice place to come and visit and, spend some time with, and, do some different things that we don't get to do in the city life around here.
Yeah.
So I'm looking forward to that,
I'll
you
tell you,
know?
man, going to my mother-in-law's place when we still lived down there, we'd go a lot during the summer because she had a pool. It's something that's really, really missed since our move to Portland. Like the pool, just a pool is cool, dude, and the kids are gonna love it, and
Yeah.
it's gonna be a lot of fun.
Yeah. I mean, even we wish we had a pool right now, considering, the summer where you're just sheltering in place. It's like gives you something to do.
Yeah,
It's like I've got friends and stuff that live in the East Bay, and they've got, pools, and you see on social media like, "Oh, just enjoying the backyard pool." It's like, "Oh, shit, it must be
yeah,
nice." Like,
yeah.
you don't even
Dude,
feel like you're in quarantine,
I was talking to Jen the other day. I was like, when the shit settles here with our house drama and everything, we should talk about a pool. And she's like, for what, the 4 days of hot weather? It's like, hey, we just get a heated pool, dude. It's legit year round. I'll be out there in the damn snow,
Yeah,
you
put
know?
some solar powered heating systems on it. You'll be fine,
Yeah, man.
you know?
It's just so much fun. And her pool wasn't anything spectacular. Like it was nice. It had a little bit of a deep end and the chill side, but it was small. It was small, but man, we still had a lot of fun in that pool, dude.
Well, if you ever get like one of your levels of your house back, you can make an indoor pool, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. Hmm. I don't know. That's crazy talk. Not a
Yeah,
bad
it's like
idea, but
it's probably like 4 times the price as like
oh
an
yeah, I'm
outdoor
sure.
pool too.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Jesus,
Ugh.
Jesus.
Well,
Oh,
you know what
dude.
goes good with beer is barbecue.
Oh,
Uh,
you can't barbecue without a beer.
yeah.
It's a rule.
It's
Must be a chapter.
I had this idea. I was barbecuing the other day something, and I posted it on our Instagram site, and then we had some other topics that were important last week, but just kind of thought like I wanted to ask you. You know, we're both big cookers in our families, heavy in the barbecuing, but not just barbecuing too. Like just I think more so we're heavy into meat.
Yeah,
Um, so I kind of wanted to know
definitely a
like
carnivore, you
yeah.
know?
So I thought like let's maybe chat for a few minutes about like what's your favorite, either like your favorite meat to barbecue or cook, or something unique that you do for the family or parties or whatever. Just some entrees that you enjoy
Oh, for
to
sure.
make.
A lot of go-tos. I mean, just one of my favorite meals is like a barbecue, like bratwurst or Italian sausage, so I can
Yeah.
eat those almost any day of the week. Those are nice and easy to throw out on the grill. And even if you just want a quick meal, like, and the barbecue is nice because you don't have to clean a whole lot.
Yeah.
So I do that a lot. You can't go wrong with a nice ribeye steak, maybe some tri-tip, things like that, some good beef on there. I know back in the day I turned you on to the old skirt steak and the very, very teriyaki marinade and
Yeah.
slapping those bad boys on there.
Yeah.
Um, but I'd say one of the more like unique things that I've done on the barbecue. Um, Nothing too like outrageous though. Like, it's I mean, I've done some like stuffed things, like stuffed bell peppers and things like that on the barbecue, which is fun. But I mean, it's an acquired taste. But I'd say my most favorite thing to barbecue is just bone in ribeyes. And the way I do it is I do a nice little rub on there, and I always usually pour Worcestershire sauce on it like 10 minutes before I put it on the grill as like a little last minute marinade. And it totally changes the flavor for the better, in my opinion.
Yeah.
I mean, I've had it both ways, but the Worcestershire sauce in my case is like the secret ingredient, And when you're cooking a nice slab of beef,
Yeah.
it's just perfect,
Yeah.
And
It does add a nice flavor to it. That's for sure.
so, but I mean, for parties and things like that, my go-tos are like Christmas and like Thanksgiving. I usually try to talk people out of turkeys and stuff like that. Like if I've gone to my parents' house, I'm like, let's do a prime rib instead of like a turkey, because I love beef, like we just
Yeah.
talked about.
I hate turkey, dude. Like I
It's
like
just so dry. It
deli
doesn't really do
turkey.
much for me.
Yeah, like deli
Yeah.
turkey and like sandwiches is one thing, but like an actual turkey, the white meat
Yeah.
is just so dry, and then the dark meat is just not really something that I am excited about. Like most Thanksgivings, dude, like my wife always makes fun of me, but like we'll sit down at the table and everyone has all this turkey and shit on their plates, and I'm the one jackass that's sitting there and I have all the ham. And what's
Yeah.
funny is like I don't even really
I'm
like
there
ham
too.
either, but I'd
Yeah.
rather eat the ham over
It's
the
better than the
turkey.
turkey because
Yeah.
it's more moist.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's your favorite word again.
Oh God.
Um,
God damn it.
But uh, but yeah, I mean, like to be honest, and I've said this to my family before. It's like I get it. There's a tradition and like, oh, there's turkey around Thanksgiving and this and that. But
Do we need to
the
do we need to talk about that tradition though, Danny? Do we
no,
really?
we don't. We don't. But
My
the but like
opinions.
the but like the I mean, I think we've evolved to the fact of the matter is it's more about the gathering than it
Yeah.
is what we're eating. And so as long as we're gathering around the table for this purpose, we can eat whatever we want.
Yeah.
And we should all eat, just make a big bomb ass feast, whatever the hell it is. Like some families do crab feeds on
Yeah.
Christmas and because it's crab season and all that stuff. And so
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you can really do whatever you want. And I think it's great.
Yeah.
So, and then my last go-to that I do is I love to do like a pulled pork in the crock pot and with like the King's Hawaiian little buns.
Yeah.
I do those a lot for like potlucks because it's super easy to just
Yeah.
like, I'll set the thing like before I go to bed at night, and like by the time I wake up in the morning, it's like perfect. And like if you got to bring it to work for like lunch or something, it's like it's ready to go. It's the
Yeah.
easiest little like potluck
Yeah,
thing that you
that's a
got to
good
do.
one. I do something very similar. I do but I do it with chicken. Um yeah, just so easy, dude. Crockpot is so easy.
Crockpot's
You
just
cook a
mine
hell
in
of a
so many
prime
ways.
rib though. I've actually my prime rib recipe is like 99% from you.
Yeah, I mean, it's once you find a good one, dude, stick with it, and it's you'll never forget it, and you'll never get it wrong after you
Yeah.
do it right once.
Yeah. Yeah, that's for sure. It's funny how like easy it actually is once you figure it out.
Yeah,
Very
yeah,
straightforward, and it comes out perfect almost every time.
exactly. There's just one little rule you got to follow, and that's do not open the oven
Yeah. It's a hard rule to
under
follow.
under
But
any circumstance.
yep. Yeah.
I remember cooking prime rib at work one time, and I had to like I put like duct tape around the oven with like a sign, and I was like, "Do not open the oven," It's
Yeah.
like it's like a communal place. I don't want anybody to open up. What's in here?
Yeah.
Like,
Oh, it's cooking. It smells good. Yeah.
oh my god.
Yeah, man, you cook a good prime rib, that's for sure. Mine are yeah, very similar to yours. What we cook up here pretty often is just skirt steak. It's really good. It really holds flavor. I've actually
Yeah.
moved on from the very teriyaki. I found what is it? Island teriyaki sauce.
Yeah.
It's really good.
Same brand, yeah, just a little different
Yeah.
twist.
But that's one of the big things that we eat. Like, kind of is in our almost weekly little lineup here. But so one thing that actually the thing that brought this to my mind was, one thing my grandfather used to cook a long time ago, and I started cooking. This was actually before I even really started dating my wife. Was barbecue chicken and pineapple skewers, which it's teriyaki chicken and just chicken thighs,
Yeah.
because
Dark meat.
they tend to be a little bit more flavorful and hold the
Oh
flavor
yeah.
more. You just cut it into little bite-sized chunks, and then it's just you marinate them overnight, and it's nice because it's super easy. It's just time consuming making the skewers, but like that's the most difficult and time consuming part. Like it's just you just put little
Yeah.
bite-sized piece of a marinated chicken, a slice of
It's about the
pineapple,
presentation, you know?
yeah, and then just chicken pineapple. And I actually like maybe 2 or 3 months ago now, it just popped into my head one day. Like I was like, I haven't done this in a while. I wonder if the kids would like it. And I made it. And my wife looked at me like, why have you never made this before? And it's just, I don't know why. It's just something like, how those things just kind of
Yeah, exactly. Like,
kind
I
of
used
go
to
away
make this
from it
all
for
the
a
time.
while.
I forgot about this.
Yeah, and she's just like, did you look this up on YouTube or something? I was like, no, like it's just something that I just haven't done for some reason. But it's now like they love it. Everyone in the family loves it. So
That's
it's
killer,
kind of
dude.
something we're doing again. But yeah, my big party thing that I'll do, and I do it on a rare occasion because I'm not a morning person, but I've actually gotten to the point where I can barbecue a brisket on a Weber.
Nice.
The downside of it is it takes about 10 hours. So to have it for dinner, you're getting up at 4 a.m. to start. And it is something that you kind of have to look on every hour. So it's something that I'll do for like super special occasions. I've done about 6 of them. And after the first one was fine, but after the first one, man, they've just come out really good. And people at the part, like our family parties, they're always asking now, like, hey, you can do a brisket? And most of the times I'm like, nah, because
Dude,
it's hard.
That sounds like the perfect thing to do on like a football Sunday when the Niners are playing Sunday Night Football.
Yeah.
And you want to watch football all day, so you have to be home all day to like check on this thing. Hey, that sounds like a pretty cool day, you know?
Yeah, and I mean it's in all reality, like the start of it's pretty chill. Like most of the times when I do it, I'll wake up, I'll get the grill going, I'll get the meat on at like 4:30.
You're still doing charcoal?
Yeah.
On that?
Yeah.
Nice.
And then you like the first 3 to 4 hours, you just it's slow cooked. It's not until about that 3.5, 4 hour mark that you need to start, like marinating it every hour. So most of the time I'll get it set and then I'll kind of go back to sleep for a little bit, but you never get like back to sleep.
Yeah.
And then the rest of the day, you can kind of do whatever. Just go coat it, add a couple coals, So, but it's very tedious, and it is something that you can't easily mess up. Like,
But those are usually the ones that taste the best at the end because you labored over it for so long and you've been looking forward to this for so long, and it's like, it's gonna be amazing.
Yeah. And they usually are, and every time it's been worth it. But just every time I start thinking about it, I think about the daunting task. And then I always remember my first one, which again, it came out good, but it was tough. And the reason it was tough is because halfway through I added a couple too many coals and my temperature spiked by literally 25 degrees for like 30 minutes. But that's how sensitive a brisket can be. Like you have to be consistent. And like trying to keep a charcoal barbecue at a consistent temperature for a long period of time can be a little tricky.
Oh yeah.
So I just dumped a few too many coals in there, spiked for about 30 to 40 minutes, went back down to where it was, and boom, just tough. Not super tough. Like I was the only one that noticed it, to be honest. My family was like, oh my God, that's amazing. But I noticed.
Of course, yeah.
But everyone after that, I kind of figured it out. And it's really like every hour you coat it, and every other hour add 4 coals. That's it, 4. You'd be surprised how long 4 coals can last when it's slow burning,
Yeah.
So, but yeah, that's my big entrees or whatever, that I like to barbecue and
barbecuing the Coltron.
Tend to enjoy. I love barbecuing. You know what we've been doing lately?
When are you gonna stream yourself barbecuing, dude?
Huh?
When are you gonna stream yourself barbecuing?
Oh God, no. You know, it's funny though that I've been thinking outside the box a little bit because we don't have a kitchen right now. We haven't had a legit kitchen for 8 months. Because of all this house drama and stuff. So I kind of made makeshift a kitchen in the dining room. Um, where like we bought this little Ninja. I think I've said this before, but we bought like the little electric 2 burner plug-in bullshit, and we have like a little Ninja oven. So like we can make little things here and there.
Yeah.
It gets us by. We use the barbecue a lot, but you know, every once in a while there's those nights where it's just like, you know, let's just make some grilled cheese and tomato soup. But this stupid little 2 burner thing, like it only gets hot in the direct middle, right? So it's like you literally have to make,
Takes a while.
yeah, like you have to
One at a
make like
time.
one grilled cheese at a time, right?
Yeah.
Maybe you can get away with 2, but like it's like they're kind of lopsided on the burning. And my kids love French toast too, so I get everyone like once every couple of weeks we'll have French toast for dinner. And I got this idea the other day. I was just like, I'm just gonna do this shit on the barbecue, and it's
Yeah.
freaking like the biggest like big brain moment I've had in a while because I can cook it all at once, and
Yeah.
it's come out 10 times better than we've ever like the grilled cheese I've been making for these kids lately. They're like every time they're just like, oh my god, it's so
Yeah.
good, you know.
It just chars the bread so much better and everything.
Yeah,
too.
and even my wife is just like, and my wife is a pro at grilled cheese. Like she judges my grilled cheeses every time I make it, and even she's just like, you might be onto something here. You know, like she won't admit that they're better than
She
hers.
doesn't want to admit it. Yeah.
Yeah, but she
doesn't wanna
knows
admit
damn
it.
well that they're freaking good,
Yeah.
dude. Because
Yeah.
you know, it cooks it evenly. That it melts the cheese, like so it's super. Like that's the favorite thing my kids like to do is I'll cut it in half for them, but I won't pull it apart because they like to
Yeah.
pull it apart and watch the
See
cheese.
the cheese and
You know,
stuff. Yeah.
so but yeah, man, it's I've been doing that a lot, just grilling kind of anything I can think of that I'm like, well, it's not gonna fall through the grates. Let's throw it on the grill.
You ever grill like corn on the cob or anything like that?
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, that's something
Just
that's
started
pretty
doing that
common.
again. That's one
I
thing I
do
got
that.
away from for a while. I just got back into that.
Yeah, I do that, and then so I don't cook on the charcoal grill that often anymore. I have a gas grill, but what I did is I connected it to the natural gas through our house, so we don't get that propane taste. It actually like you really it. I don't
It's
taste
different.
any kind
Yeah.
of gas taste. Like the natural gas is really nice and it's convenient. But so I have this 4 burner, pretty big Weber grill, and I got the griddle grate for it. That most of the time it's on one side.
Yeah.
And so I'll cook up a lot of stuff in there, like you know mixed veggies. Or I'll grill up
Right. Yeah.
like carrots and broccoli, asparagus, and, like stuff like that. Just throw it on that side while the meat's cooking, and comes out really good.
Yeah. My favorite to do is like grilled onions and bell peppers.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know, just
Peppers is
drizzled in
one thing I
olive
do.
oil and stuff.
Yeah, pepper's one thing I'm gonna do. I'm gonna start doing it more because my kids are finally starting to get a little bit of a taste for some spicy stuff.
Getting a little adventurous, huh?
Yeah, so they've been because they always see like when I make our lunches and stuff, I use pepper jack cheese. They use the
Right.
Colby Jack, and then like when we
Right.
have burritos, I'm throwing tapatio on there. So they're always like,
Right.
"Why do you
Yeah,
use
what's
that?" And
that?
it's like, "Well, I like spicy." And then you know Nate's really cool. Nate is the adventurer, the food adventurer, and
Yeah.
the kid is so cute, man. But every single time we have burritos, he'll go, all right, I'm ready to try the hot sauce again. So I'll give him like, dude, like literally not even enough to taste it, right? Like half a drop.
Oh God.
Yeah.
Oh God.
But he does like the whole prep. He's, okay. Takes a deep breath. He's like, okay, I'm ready. You know, shrugs his shoulders, gets himself psyched, right? He's like, all right, I'm ready. But he takes that bite and then instantly it's just like, oh my God, so hot, so hot, so hot. And I'm like, and I tell him, and like the deal I make him is always like, listen, you can try it, but you can't spit it out. You got to chew it up and swallow it. Like that's my deal with him to get him to really take the time to try to think it through, right?
Right, exactly.
And it's not like torture. Like he doesn't even taste it. But so he takes that bite and then he freaks out. And he's like, oh, and chews it really fast, swallows it, then grabs his water or his milk and starts chugging it. But it's just funny, man. And then like the other night we were eating. He's like, Dad, I think I'm ready to try the pepper jack cheese. I was like, I don't know, man. So I let him take one bite of my sandwich, and he's like, oh my God, it's so good, but it's spicy. I don't know. I think I'm ready yet. So, but he's just, you know, and then Luke follows him. Luke is hilarious.
My kids are the opposite, man. Like Ryan's the kid who, my oldest, who like, he won't try anything. He's already made up his mind that he doesn't like it. And I'm like, dude, you can't tell me you don't like something if you've never tried it. I said, like, at least taste it. swallow it, think about it, make a decision. Do I like that? Yeah, maybe I'll have some more. Do I not like that? Okay, now I really don't like that, and I have proof that I don't like that. It's like, I respect that. But the fact that you just won't try anything, it's like, don't tell me you don't like it,
Yeah,
you
I'm
know?
like that with Luke, and it's like, dude, sometimes it literally frustrates me because it's something that I know this kid well enough to know if he'd
Yeah.
try it, he'd love it,
Right,
but he
right,
won't
and
do it.
that's the same thing. Like
Yeah,
Zach, my youngest, on the other hand, is like, he'll try anything, and that's
yeah,
why he eats anything because he's tried almost everything and he's
yeah.
figured it out, you
Dude,
know?
Nate, this kid blows my mind. Like, we'll order pizza every once in a while, right? And Jen doesn't really like pizza, so she gets the place we order from. They have a really good meatball sub, and it comes with a side salad. Um, and we usually just get the Caesar. And Nate, literally, we get the pizza, and he's like looking at my wife with this look, like he wants to ask, but he doesn't ask. And it's the same thing every time. And Jen's always like, "Do you want some of the salad?" He's like, "I really want some of the salad." Like, this kid rather have the salad over the pizza. It's like, it's
Dude,
just so awesome, though, right?
I wish my
So.
kids would try salad,
Oh my god, dude.
you know?
This kid, anywhere we go, it's like, oh, what do you order? Burger? Oh, can I have a side salad with it? Like,
Yeah.
yeah, you freaking psychopath.
I mean, when I was a kid, I used to love, like, a restaurant side salad.
Oh
I used
yeah.
to love it because
Yeah.
it came with all the fixins and all
Yep.
the, and then you
Yeah.
got to do your ranch dressing all yourself.
Yeah.
It was like a better salad than you got at home, you
Yeah.
know? It was perfect, you
Yeah.
know?
No, he chows it down. He does. We don't use the Caesar dressing that comes with it because it's actually like a legit Caesar dressing, so it has that strong anchovy taste, which
When you were
he's not
younger,
accustomed
did
to
you ever
yet.
go to Fresh Choice
Yeah.
and, like, do the salad bar thing there?
Oh
I
yeah.
used to love the salad bar
Yeah.
there because, like, you get to, I mean,
You
basically, you
put
do the
whatever you like
personalized
on it.
thing, you know? Yeah,
Yeah.
and it's just like, it's all about what I like. It's
Yeah.
just, "This is great. Let's load it up."
Yeah.
I remember getting such big salads by the time that, like, you sit down and then you walk by the pasta, the pizza, and it's like, I don't know how I'm gonna eat all this because I just made like a salad that's big enough for a family of 5, you
Yeah.
know? And like,
Yeah. Their
and
stuff
then
was I mean, I guess it goes in the name, but it was really fresh too. At least the one that I used to go to. Like, their salad
yeah,
bar was
yeah.
fresh.
It was definitely a step up from like Sizzler, you
Yeah.
know?
Oh yeah.
You
Dude,
know?
everyone knocks Sizzler. I swear to God, I
It's
went to
still
Sizzler when I
around.
was super young with my grandparents a few times, and I mean, I'm talking 20 years, but I just remember I thought I really liked it. And
Yeah,
everyone's like,
there's
"Oh,
still a couple
Sizzlers for
around
like
that I
the
know of.
trashy people." I'm like, I'm pretty sure I'd go to that right now.
I
Maybe
know.
I'm trashy though. I don't know.
I mean when you got like all you can eat things that like should be expensive, it's questionable,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah. Where
So,
is this coming from?
yeah, but
It's
what are you
it's
gonna
the day old stuff from the Italian restaurant up the street.
do? Yeah, yeah, exactly. Exactly, man. Alright. I think I've waited long enough. I gotta get some things off my chest in terms of some unanswered questions that, um things that are bothering me that I've gotta ask the universe the question. I doubt I'll ever get the answer, but, maybe other people are thinking the same thing. And for me, it's like, it's something simple that's just, like, happening to me, like, on a daily basis right now as I'm watching sports and I'm watching baseball specifically. The Giants are the biggest, I would say, culprit of this because they're in this rebuilding stage with young players who are still developing and learning. So I don't know if it's an element of that or if it's an element of this whole new regime that the Giants are running with Farhan Zaidi and Gabe Kapler as the manager, where it feels like they're like the front office is running the show and the manager is just like the voice of the franchise nowadays and not necessarily the mastermind like Bruce Bochy used to be,
Mhm.
you know, and they're letting the statistics sort of tell everybody what to do and where to play and, what lineup to run out there and all that stuff, right? So my question is like every single baseball player is trying to be like a football quarterback with either an armband with like cheat sheets on it, or they whip out this little cheat sheet that's laminated from their pocket after every new batter comes up the bat. Like, where do I stand? It's like you've been playing baseball this entire time and you don't know where to stand. Like you need to reference a piece of paper to tell you where to stand. I mean, if there's obvious keys where it's if a left-handed batter, we're going to take a few steps to our left. If it's a right-handed batter, we're going to take it, we're going to play straight up or this or that. It's like these guys are shifting so incredibly like drastic on every single at bat that it's just like what does this card say? Like, move 15 steps to the left, then 6 steps forward, and then 2 steps, 30 degrees to your right. Or like, what are these instructions? Like, like Nolan Arenado comes with the bat. Where are you supposed to stand? Okay, well, go to ground zero because that's where normally you're supposed to play. Then take 8 steps back, 4 to your left, and then spin around 3 times and then get ready. It's like what does it say? Like how do you know that or and then the next guy comes with the bat and you already took 15 steps back and 6 to the left and 25 to the south. And then like the next batter comes up and you got to do like, you're going to
2
take
bunny
14
hops to the
steps.
right.
Yeah, you're going to do 14 steps to the southeast and then you're going to go, step back
Shimmy,
like
shimmy
14
slide.
steps. But like, do you start from where you were at the previous spot, or do you have to go back to where like a normal left fielder starts and then do this whole thing over again? Because you have to start at like point X every single at bat because all the instructions are from point X, or is it like you started at the first at bat at point X and then you moved you to here, and then your shift from there is the second batter? So are the steps from that point, or do you have to go back to point X and then do the steps again? So it's like these are my unanswered questions that like no one's going to tell me this.
I feel like what could be really valuable to you is like that between inning video, like what's going on like in the outfield where you can just watch. Like are they resetting? Are they like running back to zero and then counting their steps out to the next batter?
They're probably studying the first 3 batters that they know for sure going to come up that inning. I would think, and then it's just like it's just frustrating to me because it's like, how many times right now have we already seen like they're playing so much of these statistics and these shifts, and I've seen so many plays where balls get hit to where guys should have been if they lined up normally.
Yeah.
And then a run scores because of it, or they get a double because of it.
But how many plays? But also, how many plays have worked out because of where they shifted to?
Not enough to make it worth it.
Really?
Yeah. And a lot of it too is like you're moving guys who aren't typically like, you're moving a third baseman to play where second base is because you're dropping the second baseman in a shallow right field. And then now the third baseman who's playing second base is getting a ground ball up the middle. And now he's got to turn to like a second baseman that he typically doesn't do very often.
Yeah, those crazy shifts like that are always mind-blowing to me, man.
So it's like I get it. These are professional ball players and you should be able to ask them to do many different things. But you got to also remember that everyone's a creature of habit, and no athlete is a bigger creature of habit than a baseball player. And, it's like,
I mean, dude, they're such creatures of habit. Like you watch them in between innings, like they're practicing the motions of throwing to those 2 bases, or that certain spot that they're normally throwing to. Like they're literally like, even when they're just tossing the ball to each other, like they're you'll see like the pitcher throw like a little blob to the second baseman. He gets down, pulls it up, fires it to first. Like it just, they're just constantly practicing those certain motions that are specific to their position. So I can only imagine that how they probably have a certain level of confidence, but I'm sure they have a very high level of concern too when they have to do a big shift like that.
Because it's funny to me, because it's like, okay, you think about like a quarterback, like I can probably tell you what's on that wristband. I mean, he's reading the plays because some of them are so long. And they've got like different verbiage. And it's like, sometimes it's easier just to like, okay, if they give you a signal, like, okay, I'm going to read that real quick, versus what the hell does this thing say? Like how many steps to the left, to the right? Like, is it that basic, or are there arrows on it that says like, go like this? Like when you, for this batter,
Dude,
like,
I don't
know.
What would be really fascinating is if it is quite possibly like the most simplest thing ever, like if it's just a note like number 12, pulls, adjust, like just some basic information where they're just looking at it, they're like, oh, this guy likes to pull, maybe I'll just take a couple steps this way, and it's like totally up to them. It's just like some general information, or if it is super complex, but that's true. Like, and to be honest, it could very well be different for every team. One team could have it just some basic notes. Another team could have it where it's like, number 13, he'll, double skip the ball into center field, take 45 steps forward or whatever,
But like, how hard is it? Like, I mean, you got 27 coaches in the dugout, and you tell me that like,
it's not an over exaggeration.
No, it's not. And like in the old school way, just like you had one guy that stood up and be like, "Hey, go that way a little bit. Okay, you're good." Like it's not that difficult, you
Mhm.
know? Like
Was a bad
and
time to
then
take a sip of beer.
and then if you did it that way, at least it's like, okay, if this guy's lined up wrong, it's on the coach. Because then it's like if you're gonna leave him up to like he's got to read the cheat sheet on where to line up, well, now you're still not sure if he's in the right spot because you're leaving it up to the player to make sure that he put himself in the right spot.
Yeah.
And then if something happens, you're gonna get questioned in the locker room later after the game, like, well, what happened on that play? Like, why were you lined up over here? Like, blah, blah, blah. And then like the coach is gonna get asked, well, he really should have been over here. He didn't read the cheat sheet correctly,
Well, the
blah, blah, blah. It's
cheat
like,
sheet
yeah.
said 15 steps to the right. I thought it meant my right, not the batter's right. I
Well,
mean,
what you're gonna
it's a
happen is
switch hitter. I mean, I thought it was, his normal stance right, not his opposite stance right. Like, I got confused.
well, my point there is like you're gonna have each other throw each other under the bus.
Oh,
Like,
yeah.
well, I did what the cheat sheet said, and then the coach is gonna be like, no, he didn't. He didn't do what the cheat sheet
Yeah.
said. And it's like if you got the guy who's standing out there getting your attention and saying, move sick, go this way. Okay, good, you're good, you're good. Like
Yeah.
there's no question there. He said I was good, you know? Like,
Yeah. This meant good, not back up,
yeah.
Yeah.
So
No,
I mean,
that's a
it's
good
like,
one, dude.
and they're just not gonna, they're never gonna tell you what's on there
Oh, no.
because they don't want it to be under
That's giving away their
scrutiny
secrets.
in the media, and they don't want it to be giving away the strategy either.
Oh,
So it's just like it's one of those things. It's unanswered questions that we'll never know unless we ever get like
no.
an ex ball player that comes on and really sheds some light on something like that. Which
Yeah.
I'm not holding my breath.
I mean, I think as long as it doesn't come with large clicking or clapping noises, it's not cheating. So
Yeah, it's true. Or buzzers.
yeah, whatever the weird noise is. Yeah.
It's like, what is the coach gonna buzz you if you're not in the right spot?
Yeah.
Kind of like a
Wait,
dog
no.
collar. Like we're gonna zap you until you get in the right spot.
You just see the guy out in the outfield take 2 steps to the right, 2 steps more, 2 steps more. Okay, I'm good. I'm good.
Yeah. Okay, they didn't buzz me. I'm good.
That's an interesting
my
one though,
God.
man. I like that.
It makes you think, because it's like you see it happen. They're always out there. I can't wait for the one time the guy's gonna sit there and he's gonna be still looking at his card, and their pitch is gonna go. Like they're gonna pitch while he's still looking at
Oh
it.
yeah.
And then like he's trying to put that thing away, and the ball's like in the air or something like that. Like
Oh,
or he gets
man.
caught sleeping out there because he's trying to read his goddamn play sheet.
Yeah. I haven't seen too much of that. I have to be honest, and this is a terrible thing to say what I personally feel I am a true Giants fan. I have actually not watched a single game this year. I've been watching the recaps. I've just been really busy with kid stuff, work stuff, and I'm a video game nerd. So every night when I lay into bed, I watch the recaps and the highlights and stuff. So I'm aware of what's going on, but I just haven't had the opportunity to sit down and watch a whole game, which I'm hoping to actually do this weekend, and then that'll hopefully get me back into doing it.
Yeah, I've watched bits and pieces of games. I haven't watched a whole game, obviously, but I mean, it's nice to catch a little bit here and there and just see how things are going.
It's also
Honestly,
I
I'm
think,
excited for some of the young guys. I mean, they've been doing well.
Yeah, I do like to see what I've been watching. The young guys are doing good. I feel like our record's pretty decent to where we're at right now. I mean, I'm putting my foot in my mouth talking about
until this point in the season for sure.
Yeah, and I'm putting my foot in my mouth already because I thought Arizona was going to be a pretty significant threat, and they are a dumpster fire right now. But I mean, there's still room to.
They haven't got out of the gate too hot.
Yeah, and like we talked about previously, like that could really kill their season.
Yeah, the Padres and the Dodgers are really going to be the two headaches in the National League West this year.
Yeah,
just the whole format. Being that we're playing the AL West with, Oakland's supposed to be pretty powerful, and and you got the Angels who aren't going to go away quietly. So, I mean, it's going to be a tough battle, but they did expand the playoff format.
Yeah,
2 more teams.
Yeah, and I'm happy for that. For this
make
year.
it interesting.
Yeah. So we'll see. We'll see how the Giants do it, and there's other teams out there that are.
I mean, they're technically still. So there's 8 spots now. Like I think they're half a game out, and then they won today. So I think that depending on other standings, that might even put them in the running still.
Yeah.
Which
what's crazy is we're talking about
a lot of games
already.
left, but but it's one of those things when you added 2 more spots like that. Well, it's just going to make those last 2 or 3 weeks that much more exciting
Yeah.
because you're going to have, and with the short sample size of the season being only 60 games, it's like you're teams aren't going to lengthen themselves from the pack on either side,
Yeah.
whether it's in the win column or the loss column, that much to really be out or ahead that much.
Yeah.
You know, so I think there's a lot of stuff that could still potentially, you know, people could knock people off. You know, teams could sneak in there towards
Yeah.
the end, and
I
anything's
will
possible.
say it is interesting the fact that we're already talking about this type of stuff and we're like, what, 10 games into the season? But it's because it already matters. It's just,
Well, yeah, in
it
a
does
normal season,
add,
we'd be here on August 5th, and we'd be totally talking about the playoff picture.
yeah, but
And
the
then there,
first 3 months of the season, we'd be like, or, you know, a month and a half, 2
yeah,
months, we'd be like, oh, well, you know,
yeah,
lost
be
that
like,
game, not a big deal.
there's still plenty of
But
games
here we
left.
are, you know, game 10, and we're like,
Yeah.
oh, you know, right now we're looking all right for playoffs. It does add, I will admit, it does add quite a bit of interest in it.
Well, yeah. I mean, there's the 2.7 rule of this year too,
Yeah.
where like one game is worth 2.7 games. So it's like if you win in this, you know, 10 games, it's like 27 games.
Yeah.
You know? And that's, I mean, going back to like what we talked about on the last podcast episode with Joe Kelly being suspended 8 games. Well, I mean, he's not necessarily appealing it because he thinks that him getting suspended is unfair, but he feels that in this shortened season, 8 games is equivalent to like 20 games. And no one's ever got a 20-game suspension. Not even Pete Rose has gotten a 20-game suspension for what he did with gambling, you know? Like, so it's just, it's extreme. And yeah, 8 games looks, you know, it looks right on the surface for most seasons, but in this case, it's a different season. So it should be treated as differently, you know?
Absolutely.
So
Absolutely, man.
What's on your mind though? You got any unanswered questions that are burning your little nerd brain?
Yeah, I do. Before I go into mine, I have to prep this conversation because I just need to make it clear. Like, you know, I think our viewership knows a little bit that I really enjoy history, all kinds of history, but you know, I'm not some crazy.
They do know by now.
Yeah.
Oh, by the way,
I'm not some crazy theorist. I can't say that word. Theory person. I'm going to theory person. I'm not, you know, the conspiracy
theorist, you mean?
Yeah, like I can't say theory. What is it? Say it.
Conspiracy theorist.
Theorist? Is that it?
Yeah.
Theorist. Okay. I'm not some crazy conspiracy theorist.
Theorist is someone who basically creates multiple theories.
No, I know what it is. I just can't say the damn word. That's like me and
moist.
No, fuck you. God, no,
no, that one's just you won't say it.
The praise Jesus word that starts with the H. I can't say that word.
Oh, hallelujah.
Hallelujah. Hallelujah. I can't say it, dude. My wife.
You sound like Rob Schneider from Big Daddy.
Dude,
like,
anytime I get like a legitimate fight with my wife, she'll walk away and say that word. She'll just say it as she's storming out the room. Like,
just fight you
as like a big F you, right? Oh God, I cannot say that stupid ass word. Anyways, I'm not like some big crazy conspiracy theory.
The reason you can't say it is because it doesn't start with an H. It starts with an A.
Does it really?
Yeah.
Oh, you learn something new every day.
It's alleluia, not hallelujah.
You learn something new every day, right?
That's right, man.
God.
It's okay.
Well, it's official. I'm an idiot, and the world knows it. Great.
It might make it easier for you to say it.
This episode dies and no one watches it. Okay, for my sake.
You're adding letters that you didn't know you didn't need, so maybe it'll be easier for you to say it.
Alleluia.
There you go. You got it. First try.
Is that it? Alleluia?
Yeah.
Is that really it?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm gonna go shove this in her face right when we stop.
Go tell her right now and come back.
Oh man, I'm tempted to. Oh man, I just screaming through the house. Hallelujah, you bitch! No, I'm just kidding. Oh man. Anyways, but I love when people are talking about things that we don't have answers to. I love and I really respect the mind and how people can openly think outside the box, even though sometimes it makes them sound completely crazy.
Oh,
So
absolutely.
it's something that it takes a lot of guts to do, and it shows your passion. And I can respect that. And there are some people out there that are legitimately batshit crazy. There's no question about it.
Yeah. Yeah. There's no way
So,
around it either.
I needed to start with that just to make it clear, because what I'm gonna mention here can go down a slippery slope into making me sound like I'm fucking crazy. Um, so the thing that's always fascinated me is the pyramids, and there's always all these unanswered questions about how they're built. How like the like legitimately like pros in this type of stuff, like big time professors and stuff, get in massive debates like how their ideas are so different on how they were built and things like that. So um it has to have been like 4 or 5 years ago. Joe Rogan had a podcast with Graham Hancock, who is a journalist. I believe he's British. I think he's British. He's like a writer journalist, been around for decades, right? He's really big into ancient civilization, stone monuments, things like that. And he had one of his colleagues, or a guy that he works closely with in his theories and stuff, Randall Carlson. Now, Randall Carlson, I'm still not even 100% clear on what he is. He claims he's a geologist, but a lot of people say he's not a true geologist, but he has some pretty off the wall theories on, they both kind of do, regarding roughly 12,000 years ago, where there was this big cataclysmic event that altered humans, basically the human species, and changed them, where they kind of, this event happened. There's been these research and facts that have come up where something happened. They're pretty set on the idea it was a meteor that hit, and then it caused what they think is some kind of like greenhouse effect. It put a bunch of moisture or whatever up in the air, caused like this greenhouse effect in our atmosphere, and there was like a massive spike or I forget if it was at first there was a massive spike or drop, one or the other, in temperature, like 20 degrees worldwide, and it stayed that way for X amount of years or whatever, and then it happened again and went back to normal or something. But it affected everything. But Graham Hancock always has these just great and can really be off the wall ideas around the pyramids and how they're built and stuff. And he's not one of those alien guys, which, to be honest, there's such little information about the periods that even the alien guys' theories aren't completely okay. They're pretty batshit crazy, but at the same time, there's no answer to this stuff, so we can't really.
Yeah, there's certain elements that always like make you like question, because like, what about that?
Yeah, so we can't really count them out. So I just love this stuff, and I always read it or listen to these guys talk and some other guys talk with an open mind, but also the reality that these guys may have just gone a little too deep into their ideas.
Well, yeah. I mean,
I'll tell you,
Joe Rogan
I will
likes
say,
to get in on his episodes,
Oh yeah, well yeah, and Joe himself is a little off the wall at times. So, but
yeah,
I will say this about these two guys from what I've read, and heard them speak and stuff. There's no denying they're both brilliant people. I think that they just at times kind of teeter the line a little too much between brilliant and losing it. But the pyramids have always just been fascinating to me, and the one thing that Graham Hancock speaks on really good, and I actually recommend anyone who's interested in history and unanswered questions about history and stuff to listen to his podcast with Joe Rogan. He really explains it better than I will. But the big unanswered question that's always fascinating to me is how the pyramids were built, because we don't have answers to that. We know that they were built with such precision that there are machines today that have a hard time mimicking that precision. And we're talking about people that had no kind of machinery out that was like, gas powered, electrically powered, anything. Everything was, handheld tools and things like that. But the most fascinating thing to me has always been around the the granite pillars that are throughout the Great Pyramid of Giza, which true name is Khufu. I actually knew that from learning about it in high school. See, something stuck.
Yeah, must have been one of the days you were there.
Yeah, one of the couple. But like, so these pillars, I think they're like, oh man, I'm gonna mess this up. I think it's like there's 70 or 7,000 tons per pillar, and there's I don't know if you know this, but in the Great Pyramid, there's actually like there's the King's Chamber on the bottom, right, and then there's 5 chambers above the King's Chamber, and all these chambers they're lined with these massive. I think there's 7,000 ton pillars. I don't want to look it up right now. It's either 70 or 7,000. For some reason, I can't remember the number. But regardless, it's like the way he explains it is like each pillar is like the equivalent of like 36 large SUVs in weight, right? And there's like they're lined with these. So like each layer has maybe 10 of these pillars, right? So you add it up. This is like a massive amount of weight. And the argument's always been like, how did they put them into place? You know, one of the biggest things is, they made like a 10-degree incline, dragged them up the incline. The argument that debunks that is the reality that these things weighed, you know, the size of 36 large SUVs. If you made a ramp, it wouldn't be some little thing made out of sand or wood. It would have to be almost a stationary long-term ramp to get it up there, and there's no evidence of anything like that left behind. Like everything around the pyramids has been fully inspected. They show no evidence of some mass structure that was built and then removed. And if it was something that had to be able to hold that amount of weight, it would have left some kind of marking somewhere. There's nothing like that, right? So it's always been fascinating to me, like that. Here we are in 2020, we have all this crazy technology, and we have no idea how these were really built. And like the theories that some of the real big time geologists and people like that have are so different from one another. There's theories by, you know, people with degrees that I wouldn't even know how to pronounce that have theories of them rolling them into place, you know, some pulling them into place, some pushing them into place, you know, that they came from different parts of the world. There's theories of to build the you know, some people say it took 20 years to build this pyramid. Some people say it took 10 years and it was a team of 200,000 workers split into different groups that had different tasks depending on their skill sets and things like that. And it was this massive coordinated thing. And other people say like they literally just kind of laid a bunch of shit out on a table and saw, oh, this holds. Now let's build it to scale. Like, you know, just, and it's just
crazy.
so fascinating. I think just how we don't know shit about these things.
Well, I just did a quick Google search of like a couple of things of weight. Now this might be just a general point of reference to something, but like it says that like core blocks of the Great Pyramid, like core blocks within the pyramid, weigh 1.5 tons each.
So those, those are like the blocks, the stone blocks that are actually made out of stone.
Yeah, so a stone block, 1.5 tons. 1 ton is 2,000 pounds. Yeah. So this is 3,000 pounds for one block. Like, that's not just two guys carrying that and putting it down.
Yeah.
Like, there's some mechanism that has to be built that's going to lift and place and whatever. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Okay, and then I got it here.
Okay.
So the largest granite stones in the pyramid found in the King's Chamber weigh 25 to 80 tons.
Yeah, I got 80 tons on my
side. So, okay. Too. So, but even, I mean, 80, yeah, I know that's a big difference between 70
well, 80 is
160,000
pounds.
Yeah. And there is dozens of these. And then on top of that, there are hundreds of those stone blocks. The whole thing is made.
Even 20 tons is what, 40,000 pounds? Like, still ridiculous.
Yeah. So it's just like, even if the most common theory is the slavery used, you know, hundreds of thousands of people. you can't have 100,000 people lift one of these things. First, there's not enough room for everyone to get a hand on it. It makes no
Right.
sense. And they're claiming that they were brought from like large distances, like hundreds of miles away and things like that. Like, how did they
How?
transport them?
Yeah, and
You
what?
know, like
What
they're
could what
and
could
I mean, if they're
sustain that type
dragging
of
them,
weight and transport?
yeah, and if they're dragging them, say they drag them from 100 miles away, which first off is crazy on its own. They're dragging dozens of them. You're telling me that there's no sign of this? We have signs in our ground from things that have happened that have been way less
Invasive,
intense
yeah.
or invasive than that. Like, because they would probably realistically take the same path. The first one would mow everything down,
Yeah.
and then the next 30
And it
take the
would
same.
dig deeper
That
every time.
Yeah, that would make some massive crevice that even over hundreds of thousands of years as things grow back, you would still be able to see like, oh, this land here, it's flat, and then there's this weird divot. Like there would be some that travels like almost like a river or something. Like there would be something left.
Well, you just
So
think too in those times when things were built, like you typically are trying to source materials and resources that are that are abundant to you right there, that are local, that are easy to obtain. You don't have to, travel too far to implement this into whatever it is you're building, right?
yeah,
So it's like even you just think back then, like how often were people traveling 100 miles? Because you didn't have cars, you didn't have trains, you didn't have planes, you know, all these things. To go 100 miles took weeks.
yeah,
You know what I mean? And it's like,
yeah. And
so how
so
often are you going 100 miles to realize that there's these materials out there that you could then go obtain and use them to build
yeah,
something? And then you've got to figure out how to mobilize and get those materials back to where you want them.
yeah.
Like,
Um,
I
exactly.
know.
And that's what's just like, and that's what I love about it is just the unknown of it. Is we have all this crazy advanced technology. Even today, there's a void in the Great Pyramid that's like 100-foot void that there's no access to. No one knows what's in it. They haven't found a way into it, and I'm sure they're not just drilling through a wall because of trying to preserve this thing. It is starting to get to that point where it has some weak points and everything. So, but I guess like in 2015 or 14 or something, they scanned it and they found that they feel there's nothing in it. I guess there's some new technology that apparently, and this is something because what brought this to my mind is I had one of those random YouTube recommended videos pop up, and it was Graham Hancock on the Joe Rogan show again from a year ago. And I rewatched, and it just kind of brought this all back to me because this isn't something I sit at the computer every night like, oh, the pyramids, I gotta see what's going on with the pyramids. It's just
Yeah,
something
yeah.
that you kind of see something, you research a little bit,
But
and
usually
then you
you're doing
move
that with
on.
Christopher Columbus, not the pyramids.
Yeah. Oh, Christopher Columbus every day. I'm finding something to rage about. But it just kind of got my gears going again, and I looked up, and apparently there's some new technology that is coming out this year that they're planning on either this year or most likely now been pushed to next year to rescan this void. Because there's just like there's so many questions about like why would they construct this massive void and nothing be in it? Is it just like and the arguments are there is something in it that's not being picked up on the scanners, or there isn't anything in it, and the void is because of the concept and idea that they literally just threw a bunch of shit on the ground and said, oh, this is it. And then as they built it, they realized like, oh, we didn't judge this right. Let's just
Seal it up.
seal it up and move on. And that in itself is just so fascinating. I just love the fact that it is 2020.
Yeah.
We have this worldwide monument, and we don't know and realistically, like the nitty gritty,
Right, yeah.
we don't know shit about it. We don't know how it was made. We know the general reason for why it was made, but there also seems to be other reasons to why they were made. Like we really don't know anything about these things, and it's just so cool that this is something that's
Yeah.
on our planet.
Yeah.
We can literally touch. We have the biggest brains in the world have looked at it, and we have no answers.
Yeah, I've always kind of like had those same questions about like the Stonehenge
Yeah.
place, because it's like the same sort of concept. These things are just massive rocks, and they're so carefully placed in the positions that they were for whatever reason. I mean, no one can really still figure out the pattern or as to why they were laid the way they are, but it's obvious that they weren't naturally occurring, you
Yeah.
know?
And
And so that's the fascination and the question that remains, right?
yeah, and just the sheer weight, man. Like we know, me and you, we worked in the parks department together for a few years. We dealt with trees and tree stumps that I even the thought of trying to lift it is a laughing is a
Oh yeah.
is a it's something to laugh at. And
And
here
we're
we're
talking
talking
about
about
a few
something that
hundred pounds,
literally
you know?
weighs 10 times the amount.
Yeah.
Like these things are
Yeah.
not, I mean, they're not, they may not look that big, but they're so dense. The weight alone, it's like even if you had freaking enough Dwayne Johnsons to surround this thing and lift it, it ain't even, it's not happening. Not even gonna come close.
Yeah.
So
Well,
that's
and
why,
just some
like,
of the heights that they had to lift them to too, like,
yeah,
some of the stuff's over 100 feet.
yeah.
It's like,
And that's why, like, the argument about the ramp is like the ramp couldn't be any higher than 10 degrees. Do you know how far 10 degrees to get to the top of the pyramid would be? Dude, that ramp would be seriously hundreds of miles.
they would have had to have some, like, crazy elaborate, huge pulley system where you must have had, like, 100,000 horses on one side running in
Yeah.
one direction just to pulley this thing up, and then you gotta do that how many times? Because you only
Yeah.
did that for one, and
And
then
then
you how many of these are in there,
and then
you
on
know?
top of that, like, what are the pulleys made out of that can handle the weight of these things? And
Yeah.
who makes the pulleys? It's just like, and that's what I love about it. And what's so fascinating to me is every question you come up with about them, you have to ask yourself, okay, that's a great idea. But then how was that made? Okay, then
Yeah,
how was that made? Then how was
yeah.
that made? You know, um, so these two guys, they're very much, I love and respect how they really think outside of the box. Graham Hancock has a couple kind of off the wall theories about civilizations before us and, like, moving things with their minds and stuff. And I get where he's coming from. And he when he talks about it, he makes it very clear that it's not something that he necessarily, like, is 100% invested in, but it's more of like you have to really kind of think of the unthinkable in
You gotta
some of the
consider the
scenarios because
possibility before
yeah.
you can eliminate it from
And
being possible, you
yeah,
know?
and exactly. And one of my favorite quotes from him that he said that really does kind of open my mind, and I think it opens most people that hear it, is in our civilization right now, we rely so much on machinery, right?
Yeah.
Well, just because a civilization before us didn't have machinery doesn't mean that they were dumb. Like maybe they
Yeah.
had other alternate methods of doing things that worked and they didn't need to go to machinery. And one of the arguments about that he always gets is about, oh, there's no signs of plastic anywhere from, before the ice age and things of that in that civilization. So, like, because the argument that he always puts is that there's like a lost advanced civilization. Well, what if it's because it's something that they as a civilization decided that they didn't need plastic. They had no use for plastic. They never went the route of plastic.
Yeah.
Does that make it that they're dumb? No. Not, it's just, so I just really respect his way of thinking and thinking, like, just because they didn't have something that we have today doesn't mean that they didn't have something else that we don't have today.
Yeah.
So, and it's just, we don't know. And then, like, how he talks about, like, the places in the world that archaeology hasn't been involved with heavily, like the Sahara Desert, which there's actual, and not just, and this isn't stuff I'm getting just from him. I've heard this from other people too. There's actual facts that the Sahara Desert at one time in the world was this vast, like, forest or, greenery area, and now it's literally the driest place in the world. You're telling me that if we dug X amount of feet down, we wouldn't get some kind of interesting information about our
Yeah, or
past
some sort of
history?
artifact
Yeah,
or
but it's just such a brutal
evidence, you
place.
know?
Yeah, it's just such
Yeah.
a brutal place to work in that it's just something that hasn't been a high priority.
Yeah.
Same with uh the crazy ass rainforest. Um
Oh, the Amazon?
yeah, that's another place that it's like, that there's got to be something in there that shows or gives some answers to past civilizations or whatnot, but it's just so dense and so hard to work in. It's not a priority. And
Well,
Archaeology
the
on its own,
Amazon is so
it's
much of
hard
a
to get funding.
habitat still for so many creatures and
Yeah.
living organisms,
Yeah.
whereas the desert is just like the desert. Yeah, I'm
Yeah.
sure there's some things out there, and it's really just the heat and the elements that's preventing people from doing things.
Yeah,
I
and
almost feel like
funding.
you need to
Funding
create,
is
like,
all.
your own little, like almost like you think of, like, people ice fishing, right? Create
Yeah.
your own little dome where you can control the temperature inside there
Yeah.
and just dig down from the center, you
Yeah,
know?
and I think also, like, one of the big issues is always funding. It's like, who's gonna
Yeah,
fund this massive
Elon
thing on a
Musk.
hunch or on a hope? You
Elon
know,
Musk.
because the reality is that they dig, 2,000 feet down and it's just sand,
Yeah,
nothing but sand.
or just more
So,
dirt,
yeah.
Who knows? They
Um,
could get oil, you never know.
yeah. So I don't know. It's something that's I just love. Like I said,
I had one thought while you were talking about that. So the pyramids, I mean, they're used to mummify and preserve basically as a tomb for the dead, right?
yeah.
Now, I'm just thinking about this as you're talking about this. It's like, so they went through this entire building process, this intricate, intense building process, thousands of pounds of all this kind of stuff, just to preserve the dead,
Hmm.
just to have a place to house the dead. Now, fast forward, America decides we're just gonna dig a hole
Yeah.
and put you
Yeah,
in it,
and that's like a good point on the difference in thinking between civilizations.
Yeah.
Is the mummifying process because they knew or had some strong thoughts on there was more to death?
Well, they definitely had strong beliefs about the afterlife, and that's
Yeah.
been pretty well
And
documented, but, like, I know to your point, like, does that mean that they've actually had connection with the afterlife to
yeah.
really know that this works, and that's why we've done it this way, and we've invested so much of our time and our effort and our blood, sweat, and tears into this because we know it works, and if we don't do this, there might be a negative alternative. This
Yeah.
is the way of our people, and, like, even if there's, like, the princes or the pharaohs or the kings or all those people that were royalty, like, I don't know, I forget a lot of things, but, like, it could have been that even though that they passed on, they still worshiped their position,
Yeah.
that individual. It wasn't always about the next one who came underneath them,
Yeah.
and that's why they put them in these places.
Yeah. It's definitely, I think it speaks to the fact that these things took a lot of manpower, man hours. And I think it's safe to say that we can comfortably believe that we're talking tens, if not hundreds of thousands of people to build these things. That's a lot of effort and time to put into something that is just a pipe dream or some thought. I feel like you would have to really have some convincing evidence to make people do this. And I think that is one of the missing pieces is the unknown. Is
Yeah.
what was that? What made it to where they could con or talk people, hundreds of thousands of people, into building these things and taking years to do it? So
Oh, yeah, I mean, it must
yeah,
have taken them
yeah,
a
and
decade
and
at least.
and like the precision, and that's why, like, the ancient alien shows is a funny one that I've watched, and they're off the wall, but at the same time, it sure would make a lot of sense if we one day got, I mean, especially nowadays with all this alien shit coming out, right? Like, if we had concrete evidence that in that civilization, this is where it gets crazy, and I'm not agreeing with this. It's just interesting to think about, right? If we got concrete evidence that, oh, the past civilization had extraterrestrial assistance, that would fucking answer every question right there. So that's what makes it not like it is crazy, but is it really? Is it really
Yeah.
that crazy? I think it's crazy if that's what you think you're living it. I don't think it's crazy if in the back of your mind you still have that, you know what? It's not complete. Don't scratch it off. Put it at the bottom of the list, but let's not scratch it off. I think if you think that I've had that kind of mindset,
Well, it's almost just as crazy as thinking that thousands of years ago, just people built this, and it's like, yeah, as
yeah,
much as that is so entirely possible because 'cause we've believed that for so many years, but you look at you look at how it was built and the engineering of it, and you're just like, but how?
Yeah.
And then
And
and then you think
nobody,
of
the
the
most,
other potential possibilities, and you're just like, because it's so far fetched to the way that we've been told, this other far fetched thing doesn't really seem that far fetched anymore.
yeah.
You know?
And it's like, dude, we've had legitimate tests of like super extreme builders have used the tools that they've had at that time to cut massive rocks and not even come close to the precision on the cuts that they had on some of the granite and rocks in these pyramids, using that
Yeah.
like used machines to craft the best possible design tools of those times, and then use those tools to cut these rocks nowhere close to precision as to what they had. So it's like there's some like, and that's another thing is like, is there some kind of math that was lost over time that they used to get the precision to what it was and things that we just don't know about, or
Yeah.
so that's
Maybe it's in that void.
yeah, right. Maybe
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 it's
the
written on the walls in calligraphy in
yeah,
that
or there's
void,
just
you
like
know
a
what I mean?
little, maybe there's just like a little stone table with a book that has every single fucking answer we're looking for. It's just
Yeah.
it's just so simple and small. It's not picked up on their scans or no.
It's got the formula for the coronavirus vaccine on it too. Yeah.
Guys, it was here the whole time. Wait, but how did
I
they
just don't
know?
understand, like, they can't, like, for that void, how many movies have we seen, right? Like, you can't just drill, like, a quarter-inch hole
Yeah,
and put,
I
like, a
know,
tiny little
bro.
flex camera in there
Yeah,
just to, like, go around and,
yeah.
like, see
And
what's in there?
and I don't know this. This is just my opinion. I haven't read up or know anything about this. I would assume though it has a lot to do with Egypt and
Yeah, they don't
preserving
want
it. And it's
anything
like,
there.
because they don't fuck with anything in there. Like they get through to where they can without disturbing anything. And I think that like drilling would be
Well, because I
probably
think the
something that
locals
Egypt's like,
and
no.
a lot of the people who still, the natives, for the most part, I'm sure that there's a cultural element that
Oh yeah.
still believes in a lot of that stuff, so they don't
Oh, I'm
want people
sure.
in there
Yeah.
doing that stuff, so
And from my understanding, you have to have some credibility to be able to even go inside them. Like
yeah.
it's not like I don't think that I don't know what like tours are. I think it's just to the outside. I don't think anyone can go inside them.
Yeah,
Or
that's
if you
my
can,
understanding.
I think there's like you're not, there's certain areas where it's like you have to have some major credibility to be in there. Um which makes sense. I mean,
Oh, yeah.
this is one of the greatest mysteries of our history. So yeah, I don't know. That's my unanswered question. It's just pyramids, everything about them, um, and how people think outside the box on them. It's just really cool to see. I just love how people. I love
Yeah,
how
those type of
intelligent
mysteries
people.
are wild, dude.
Huh?
These type of mysteries are wild to think
Oh
about
yeah,
because you
I
can really get into so many different angles, you know?
yeah. And I just love it. It's like space to me. Like, have you seen or watched the Cosmos on Disney Plus?
No, I have not yet.
Dude,
I've seen
I've
it on
I've been
there.
watching this with Nate and Luke. Dude, they're glued to it. But it's just like space is another thing that it's just so mind blowing. And what's more mind blowing is how much we actually know about it. In
Yeah.
Cosmos, like Neil deGrasse Tyson is the narrator for it. He just does a phenomenal job. That guy is just so cool, dude. He just does a phenomenal job of like dumbing it down,
Mhm.
but like talking about black holes and every like the details we know about it, and like we know so much about a black hole, what it's made of, what like the temperature is of it and all this, but we have no idea what happens when you get through it. And like the theories on like, it is looks like it's a legit portal to a different time. It's the only thing that is faster than the speed of light. Um and the ideas about going into a black hole, you could go into, there's legitimate theories of, multidimensional aspects and stuff like that. And it's just so mind-blowing to think like this is stuff that we watch in superhero shows. But the fact that, there is possibilities of it is just so amazing. Like space is just so fascinating. I love how he
But
explains like ghosts too. Like he talks about ghosts in it briefly, and it's like, do people believe in ghosts? Well, why don't they? You look up into the sky, you're looking at ghosts. And it's like if you think about that, it's like shit. I mean,
probably are.
stars are the light that we're seeing from a planet that's been dead for some of them millions of years. Like we're
Yeah.
literally every star we look at is technically the ghost of a planet. So
Yeah.
just like I just love how like people think of
Yeah, when you
explaining
put
things
it
like
in
that.
different perspectives, you're like,
Yeah, and
"Huh,
then it's like, well,
okay."
shit. Now that you say it that way,
Yeah, yeah.
because I'm a big like ghosts are bullshit person. But now I'm like, well, this motherfucker's got a good point. Like these
Yeah,
planets are dead and
and
they're bright as fuck to me.
jury's
So
still out, for me in terms of ghosts or even people who are like mediums who talk to the dead and things like that.
yeah,
It's
I
like
think for me, it's just all the ghost hunter shows have really killed it for me because they're so cringy. Um,
well, a
but
lot of that stuff's just so, like it's so made up for TV too that it's
yeah,
just like it's even more far-fetched because of it,
yeah,
and then it's just like and then you don't even know, well, what part of this is, like, kinda believable and what part of it is just not, you
yeah.
know?
If you can hear me knock 3 times, meanwhile, some dudes downstairs bumps into the counter. Oh my god, it's a ghost. You know,
Yeah,
just so fucking stupid
so
sometimes. But I don't know. I think I just love that there's so much unknown that's on our very planet, um,
yeah, I
outside of our
mean,
planet.
hey, I mean, we've only been here for a short time. I mean, it seems like thousands of years, but I mean, tech in relevancy, it's probably still a very short time. Who
Yeah,
knows where things are gonna be in thousands of years from
yeah,
now, you
yeah.
know?
And it's like it
If
makes the
we're
other
still
thing.
here at all, you know?
Yeah, and that's like another cool thing that Graham Hancock's touched on briefly in some of his other interviews, where it's like, that we know there's facts like with the dinosaurs. This was a cataclysmic extinction event, is what it's called. We know there's physical evidence something similar to that happened 12,800 years ago and wiped out civilization. It was like a reset. Look at where we are right now. Like we're so technologically advanced, we have fucking computers on our wrists. Like,
Yeah.
what if something happened? What if a comet hit the planet tomorrow, wipes out everything, and we start fresh? And 10,000 years from now, people are digging through shit and they find a skeleton that has a computer on their wrist. And they're like, whoa, what is that? What is this
Yeah.
device? Like it's just so fascinating how
Or they're
what the
gonna
future
like,
holds
"Wow,
too.
look see how old this thing is? Like, what
Yeah.
did they
Is
use
that a
this
computer
for?"
on his wrist? It's not in his eyeball. What? What
Yeah.
was this device? Or like the opposite thing, or like maybe something happens and the next civilization doesn't have computers or doesn't have machinery, and it's like they find this thing, they're like, what is this alien? No, dude,
Yeah.
it's just
Yeah.
some rich dude came up with an idea 12,000 years ago and put it on your wrist.
I got a question for you, dude. And there's been a lot of speculation going on in the news about potential for where this could go, right? So with the pandemic that's been going on, there's a race to get a vaccine,
Yeah.
right? And there's a group of people or influencers who sort of believe that this pandemic is largely fabricated,
Hmm.
you know, um, and by way of the propaganda streams of getting people to believe a certain thing, to think a certain thing, to act a certain way. And just like how things were said to be getting better in terms of COVID-19, and now they're getting worse again. There's a lot of people that are speculating that it's the narrative that the world leaders in this case want you to think this way because they have a bigger ultimate plan. And when I say world leaders, I'm not necessarily talking about the presidents or the
Yeah.
highest ranking government official in each of the countries that we live in, right?
Hmm.
Because as much as they are world leaders, it's more well known that the richest people in the world, a group of billionaires, actually run those world leaders,
Yeah.
you know? And
Yeah.
so if they want things to happen, they're going to happen. And I kind of feel like the race for this vaccine in a way, there's gonna be some sort of, like, tech involved where, people like, you've seen movies where people getting chips implanted in them or
Yeah.
barcodes and, like, shit like that, right? Where there's a lot of sort of skepticism that this is sort of coming down the line and for us. And I feel like this pandemic, in a way, has given the entire globe a shock about the potential hazards of this infectious disease and whatnot, in a way, so much so that even all the anti-vaxxers out there
Hmm.
are gonna want to get this, and they're making it so bad that they're almost gonna feel they need to get it, and then at the same time, at the point of injection, you're gonna get this tech too, somehow, and then now everyone's gonna be, like, on the radar. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I've heard that stuff too, and it's hard, dude. It's really hard, and this is why I have
Well,
such a
I mean, think
difficult
about how
time.
possible that could be,
Yeah, and that's
you
the
know,
thing
and
is,
then
it's
it's
like,
like you wanna believe that, like, that could never happen,
yeah, and
but at the
like
same time, you
it
you
falls
gotta
in
consider it.
it falls into the same like theories of the pyramids. Is it's crazy
Yeah.
talk, but is it really? Is it
Exactly,
really crazy
exactly.
talk?
How crazy is it? Like, how feasible is it to this could actually happen? Because I think that there is tech in the world that, like, could actually do
Yeah.
this
Well,
if we wanted.
there's even been the talk of a scientist might not be the one that finds the cure, but
Right,
some algorithm, computer algorithm is the thing that comes up finding the tools needed for the cure. Uh,
right.
and that's why I have such a hard time
People
watching
see each
news.
other,
Yeah, and
you
that's
know?
why I have such a hard time watching news is because you get so many. It's opinions. It's not facts. Uh, but
Yeah.
yeah, and it's scary to think of. But I don't agree or disagree. I feel that if that is the case, and this is an agenda or something, I feel like that's such a high risk because if it is outed, that is something that will trigger a complete worldwide freaking apocalyptic
Yeah,
just
it'll kinda be like the next, like,
rage.
sort
Yeah.
of, like Edward Snowden sort of, like, thing.
Oh,
Like
on
the
a
first.
fucking
Yeah.
level so much higher. But yeah,
Yeah, because that was, like, really compartmentalized to the United States,
yeah,
whereas, like, this is now on a global level, right?
yeah,
So, it'll be the same sort of thing, like, whoever gets a hold of it, and if they do blow the whistle, in what fashion and what happens to them, and,
yeah.
we'll
So
probably never even know.
yeah, and I
So,
think that's the thing that makes me feel like it's slightly far fetched is because if that was what's happening, right? And this is something that's being plotted, and there's a whistleblower that blows the whistle, shows the facts, like that's some deep, deep, dark shit that makes the entire world question their leaders.
but see, I
That
don't.
causes
But again, it
countries.
goes back to, I think it's gonna go back to, the people who really run the world and really wanna cover this shit up. It's like, depending on this person could blow the whistle to one person, by the time that person tells 2 other people, well, now it's Operation Cover Up, and now
Yeah,
we've gotta go wrangle in how many people this person's already told and wipe this slate clean, and this person
yeah,
never existed, or, then it goes down that road, right? And then still the masses never know.
yeah,
And
yeah.
so how many times has that probably already happened in the world?
Yeah. The Snowden thing was huge because it showed firsthand what like goes on behind the scenes and how.
Well, and that was tangible, it was real because
Yeah,
it was tech that everybody has, so it was something physical
yeah,
that you can't disprove after this has been
yeah,
outed,
yeah,
you know? Like, with the virus, largely, like, everyone keeps saying, like, "We're fighting something that's invisible."
yeah.
Well, you're right. Like, we don't know it unless you've been tested, so it's like, in so many ways, we can all be led down a mysterious
Well,
path that, like, is, not credible in a
yeah.
sense.
Well, and that I mean, look at just the little things with it too, on how like the whole controversy with the testing and how you should be looking at testing. Like, should you be looking at it by tests to cases or by tests to population? Like, that is a big.
Right.
Did you see that interview on the HBO interview with Trump and what's his name? Jonathan. I think it's Jonathan something or another. But I only watched bits and pieces of it. But they got in like a heated discussion because Trump's like, "Oh, well, look at these numbers. All our numbers are low." And it's because the numbers he's looking at are cases compared to tests,
Mhm.
where the interviewer is looking at cases compared to population, and it's like, dude, the numbers are literally flipped if you look at them that way. And it's like, how? So which ways? Like, how should we be looking at this? So something
Right.
on such a small scale as that can get so lost in the conversation.
Yeah, this kind of data is there's so many different ratios to consider, right?
Yeah,
It's like, oh, there's the daily positive ratio, but it's based on how many tests and how many positives, and
yeah,
then how many deaths and how many cases. So it's like
yeah. And
you
then
can
like the thing that
spin it for your own benefit in many different ways,
yeah, and
especially
like the
in
thing that
especially in a political race.
the thing that Trump got really freaking hammered on, which I can't believe I'm going to say this. I don't necessarily disagree with him. I'm not a Trump supporter. I don't. No, we're not going that route. But um, he got ripped when he said we're getting a lot more positives because we're testing a lot more people. That's
Yeah.
not a false statement.
No, it's definitely true.
Because we have gotten the test came out in masses later down the road, and now everyone and their mother has access to tests. So yeah, we are going to see more positive tests because more people are getting the access to the testing. So it's
Well, and
not
it's just the sheer
it's
fact that it can be a very asymptomatic illness,
yeah.
and so many people who can remain asymptomatic through the entire time that they contract it and get rid of it,
Yeah,
and if they were never tested, would never know that they had it,
exactly.
and
I
so it's like the testing is so abundant that if people are getting tested, you're getting these positives from these asymptomatic people
yeah.
that you never would have normally gotten if they didn't test in the first place.
Yeah. And the problem with his statement though was it's what he's saying is not wrong. It's right, but it's the fact that the reason he's using that is to try to cover up the reality of the spike. Like there was a spike, and there's no secret behind that.
Yeah.
But he
Yeah.
was trying to word it in the reason it looks like there's a spike is because we're testing more people, when that's not really the case. The case is there's a
Well, I mean,
spike because our country's fucking stupid and doesn't
just look at every
understand to stay
sporting
the
event
fuck away
right now.
from each other.
Look at every sporting team and every sporting league, like, they're all testing every other
Yeah.
day at this high
And
clip,
and
right?
what happens when one person pops up positive? The next day,
Yeah, it's a big
seven other
deal.
teammates are positive. Like that
Yeah, but
enough shows like this is not a joke. This isn't some kind
well,
of
it's not a joke, but the other point I'm trying to make in this is that, none of these people, even the ones that test positive, are people that are, like, need to be in the hospital or
oh
really
yeah.
showing symptoms in the first place. They're getting tested just because that's the way that their leagues are structured now,
Yeah.
and they have to be tested, and it's like if we're only testing people who are symptomatic, who feel that they're sick and need to get tested,
Yeah.
nobody in the sports arenas right now, basketball, baseball, football, who's starting, nobody would be tested because nobody would feel the need to be tested.
Yeah.
But because we're doing it anyway to,
Yeah.
like, do it, like, cover our ass in a sense, like CYA, it's like it's the same example that we just gave. You're gonna eventually get some positives.
Yeah.
You know? And
Mhm.
it's just the way it is, especially if guys are still going home at the end of the day, they're not living in the bubble, they're gonna go pick up some wings at Magic City on the way home or whatever the case may
Yeah.
be, like, it's gonna happen, it's inevitable.
Yeah. And the thing is just like how drastically it affects different people. Like there's this guy named Miro. He's a professional wrestler in the WWE. He was known as Rusev. Um, he got let go because of the COVID. WWE did some shady shit. They let a bunch of wrestlers go, and he was one of them. But he's an entertaining guy. But he actually took up YouTube and Twitch. He's been gaming on Twitch and stuff. And he had a video out a few weeks ago that he tested positive for COVID. The dude is in like the best shape of his life right now. He's been in quarantine. He has these videos. He's streaming on Twitch every day. It's literally like there's nothing wrong with him. He's honestly gotten in more shape while being positive for COVID. We got other
Yeah,
people that are literally in hospital beds with freaking ventilator boxes over their
yeah,
heads is
yeah,
what's literally keeping them alive.
yeah.
So it's just I think that's the scariest thing to me is how drastically it affects people. And some it's like nothing, and others they die.
Well, I mean, this might be a really bad analogy to some, but, like, I used this the other day. So, I used to get poison oak when I was a kid so bad, and I still
Uh,
get it bad if I was dumb enough to get it.
mm-hmm.
but I'm a little bit smarter these days. My point being is that I've heard so many times over the years that there's people like, "Oh, I don't get poison oak, like it doesn't affect me," or blah blah blah. It's like, so to me, it's kind of like COVID, where scientifically nobody is immune from getting poison oak. We all carry this protein or this enzyme in our body. It's a dermatology, whatever reaction, topical skin reaction, right? It's just it's kind of like allergies where some people have more of this and other people have less of this,
Yeah.
to where I react more sensitive to this than another person who has less of this in their body, but we all have it, right? So COVID's kind of similar in the same regard. So it's like we all have makeup of different DNA and different, immune systems from different backgrounds, and we're, people have history of this disease in their family or that disease or this illness, right? This runs in our family. So that being said, to any illness, the average individual is going to get it different than the next
Yeah.
person, and
Yeah.
COVID is just that, to where it's affecting people. And there was a lot being said about, like, oh, it's the older generation or this or that. It's like, yeah, that's all true too, but it's also affecting healthy people in their 30s who are
Yeah.
hospitalized as well, in the 20s they're hospitalized as well, but it's also not affecting people in their 20s and their 30s also. So it's just like, so what is it? Is it an age thing? Is it a demographic thing? Is it a cultural thing? Is it a certain ethnicity thing? Like, no, it's just really just like we all come from different backgrounds and makeup, and I think it
Mhm.
really just depends on, like, sort of that case by case basis, right? Like, are you dealing with it?
Yeah.
Yay or nay? Are you dealing with it? Yay or, it's like it's I don't think there's a template for it, is my point, you know?
Yeah. I think that's why I'm one of the ones that I'm very um aware of it. Like, we live in an area, we're lucky that we have a big enough house. Like we're even with the lifts and everything, we've still been pretty much quarantined because for me it's just too big of a chance. I live with the
Well, yeah,
65-year-old. I live with a
yeah,
6-month-old.
your situation is very unique too. I mean,
Yeah. I could just
yeah,
not it ain't worth it. I have a job that I can work full time from home. They gave us confirmation the other day that we're doing it through the rest of the year. It
yeah,
hasn't affected our workflow. I was already part-time work from home before. So for me, it was literally just not having to wake up and go into the office on Tuesday and Thursday.
yeah,
Like that was the only change for me. Um, but it's like, am I getting to the point where I'm getting tired of it and want to go out? Yeah. But then I think about, like, what if I
the
do
risk
take the
of
kids to the
taking
park
it.
and then all of a sudden next week, freaking Luke's dead? Like, I know that's grim to really say and blunt, but
You gotta
it's a
consider it.
reality,
Yeah,
or we come home from the park and we all got COVID and we're fine. And then, we go over to my mother-in-law's spot, which is, we have a in-law unit, and she gets it and boom, done. It's a possibility that is easy. We're fortunate enough that it's easy for us to avoid it. So we're hermits,
yeah,
and it is what it is.
yeah, best
But
case
yeah, no,
scenario.
you bring up a good point, man. It's so weird right now, and with how our country is and how the world is starting to become, um, it's a possibility.
Yeah,
Everything is a possibility. Every theory holds some kind of weight.
it is, and on that note, let's get off of a more serious topic, and let's have a little bit of fun, and let's talk about some awkward encounters, man.
Okay.
Let's hear a little bit about your latest trip to Safeway.
Dude, I swear to God, me and Safeway, we got problems, man. Like, I
Ugh,
feel like I should start bringing the
sort of a
boxing
love-hate
gloves.
relationship, you know?
Yeah, man. Yeah. So the same
Love
day
to
I
shop
was,
there, hate to encounter the people,
the same day I was getting this beer, staying at the deli aisle, deli desk. This is I try to go either early in the morning or late at night just to avoid as many people as possible. Preferably early in the morning because then it's not everyone and their mother has been through the store touching everything, but whatever. This was a night during the week I had to go at night, so I'm in Safeway at literally, dude, 8 o'clock at night. It's like 7:30, 8 o'clock at night. Standing at the deli counter getting my sliced sandwich meats, and this woman walks up to me some Pacific Islander, beautiful girl from what I could see. I mean, she's wearing a mask, but she seemed, beautiful eyes and stuff. And she just walks up to me and she's like, "Wow, you have a really cool mask." And my mask that I wear, it's like a black mask. And it has like the two little ventilators on each side, like the small ones that I really like because I wear glasses, and that way it doesn't shoot up into my face and fog up my glasses. So that's why I like it. It's nice for me. I mean, I guess it looks kind of cool. I never really, I don't really think of masks as looking cool, but um, she's like, "Wow, your mask is really cool," and started asking me a bunch of questions about it. And I was just, it was a little odd, but I was cool with it. And she just started talking to me, and it got like to the point where it like she was talking to asking like, "Oh, does it really help?" And I was like, "Yeah, where'd you get it?" I got off Amazon. I showed her like the Amazon, like what it was, like just trying to be nice. Like I'm just trying to be neutral. And I didn't know at first, like I was like in my head, I was like, this is gonna be one of two things. This chick's trying to hit on me, which I'm pretty fat and ugly right now. I don't think this is the case. So she's then option two, she's gonna try to sell me something. Or there's the option three in the back of my mind that you brought up, which I thought was pretty funny, which is this chick's like kidnapped or something and she's trying to give me some kind of sign. So it was just like, it's just weird, dude. Like, then she starts like talk. I don't even know like how or what we got onto like, oh, I think this is what it was. Is like I felt like some kind of like not hitting on me, but maybe like just some weirdness. So I was like, I'm just gonna mention like family, like make it clear. So
Slip the wife
like
in there.
yeah, like, so something happened. I was like, I don't even remember what she asked or why, but I was like, oh yeah, I have 3 kids. She was just like, oh, you have kids? Oh, that's great. I have, I have nephews that I'm with all the time. And then she pulled out her phone and it was like showing me pictures of her nephews and shit. And I'm like, I just got really confused. And I'm still trying to play like the nice guy. And now it's like to the point my meat's on the table. I'm like, I could grab it and go. I can't get out. I don't know how to get out of this conversation.
Yeah.
And then she's like, starts talking about work, and she asked like what I did. And I'm like, I was just like, I work for this company, blah, 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 blah. And she goes, oh, I know people that work for that company. And I'm just like, no, you don't, but okay. Because I get that all the time. People know people that work for my company. It's just something they say. They don't usually. And then she's like, oh yeah, I know someone that works at the location. And I'm like, and it was the location I work at. And I was just like, oh, that is where I work. She's like, oh, do you know this person? And it turns out to be a guy that I literally work with side by side every day.
Wow.
And I was just like, yeah, this is like, I told her and she's like, oh my God, small world. And it's like, what makes it weird is like me and this guy and a bunch of other people, we moved from the Bay Area together with our company. So it's like, this isn't a dude that lives here, has lived here his entire life, knows a bunch of people, right?
Yeah, he's still new too, right?
Yeah. But like she just keeps talking. And it turned out, dude, it was like 15 minutes, man. I couldn't get out of this conversation. And then it kind of finally clicked when she mentioned the guy, because the guy, he's Samoan and very religious. And I didn't like, I just kind of thought about it, like maybe that has something to do with it. He's super cool, like cool religious dude. Like he's very religious, but he doesn't push it on you or anything. But like I finally got out of this conversation. I just remember walking away like, dude, what the was that? Like weird, right? And I asked him the next day and he was like, oh yeah, I know her. She's really cool. I know her from church. And that's like, bingo. This is just one of those really nice church people, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's exactly what it was. And like, it made me feel a lot better about the whole situation. But dude, I was like, up until talking to him, I was just like, dude, what just happened? Like, especially nowadays, like this is a woman, like I'm a big white dude in Portland, Oregon, which is like, we're having all these stupid ass protesting issues and all this crap. And this is not an African American woman, but it is still a woman of a different nationality, a different race. Just walked right up to this big and dude,
white.
I'm like, yeah, and I'm not like dressed to impress. Like I'm literally in Safeway in some freaking cargo shorts. Yeah, like cargo shorts and a t-shirt. Like I got my whole legs tattooed. Like I'm not like someone that's dressed to impress. I'm there to get my fucking wife and 3 kids some goddamn food to live. Like I don't give a shit what I look like. So
How long did this entire like encounter like
I'm not
take?
kidding you, dude. I think it was. I'm pretty confident it was just under 15 minutes, and I
Well, it's
know
crazy.
that
Like
because
most times people like might stop you and say something in the grocery store. It's like maybe 30 seconds,
yeah,
and you're
no, and
already
that's
like,
what like and but dude is like I tried so many times to get out of this conversation nicely without just being like I'm done. Because she
yeah,
was really nice and it was awkward, but I can't even explain this. It was like awkward, but it wasn't awkward. Um, but like we talked about my job, her job, and even like my answers. I was trying to give those short, like factual answers to where like she can't follow up with, and she found a way to follow up, dude, on every single one of them. And it's like, dude, what the? I gotta go, man. I got Call of Duty to play. What are you? This is my time right now. Uh, And then like, so I finally get out of it. I just remember like beelining it, and then like that was like the last thing. And I didn't, and I was so mad when I got home because usually the time I deal with the same chick behind the counter to the point where like I get me and Jen like I'm gonna do it right now, son of a bitch. I do, and this is what makes this funny is because I'm doing this right now. It's not Sausalito, some kind of spicy turkey. And I always do
Sausalito.
this, bro. Like I go to the counter and I'm like, "Hey, I need," and she
Pepper turkey.
goes, "Not pepper turkey." I'm about to seriously walk down to the kitchen right now and get this goddamn bag. I do this. I've done this a dozen times, but I do it. I go to the counter and I go, "Hey, how's your day going?" It's the same person all the time. I go, "Hey, I need a pound of," and then she goes, "Blah blah blah turkey." I'm like, "Yes, that's it," because it's like we used to get the Southwest turkey. Um, oh my god, bro. But whatever. It wasn't her. It was this other dude. So I had to like find the turkey to remind myself the name of it. Tell him it's like, okay, I want a pound of this, and then I want a pound of oven roasted turkey because that's what my kids like, and then a half pound of honey ham because they every once in a while they like to switch it up, right? And
Yeah.
like I'm so just focused on trying to get out of this conversation, I just grab the meat and go. And I get home and it's all messed up. We got a pound of ham, like 2/3 of a pound of the turkey I like, and then like a
Oh,
half a
dude.
pound of the. And I'm like, cool. I'm gonna have to come back tomorrow because I don't got enough fucking sandwich meat for my kids for 2 days. So, uh, yeah, bro. But it was just weird. But and then like so I beeline down an aisle just because I had to grab like one more thing. I come around and she's passing me, and I'm like, no, like I can't really talk. And I was just like, oh hey, and she just luckily she was just like gave a wave, and I was like, okay, not gonna deal with a round two. But yeah, that was my weird encounter, bro. Awkward encounter, very awkward. And I'm getting to the point where I'm like, so I want to add on this because this is what triggers me. Is this awkward shit happens to me at the Safeway all the time to the point where I tried, like me and Jen, we tried the whole like order and pickup once.
Yeah.
Complete disaster, dude. Like it was supposed to be ready at 9 a.m. Didn't get a call or anything. I called at 10. Oh, we somehow misplaced your order. We're gonna pick it right now. Call you in 30 minutes. 2 hours go by. I call back. Oh yeah, we found all the dry foods, but we can't find your refrigerated foods. It was a nightmare. And then finally, I mean, the only good outcome of it is I finally got all the shit, and they had some issue with whatever, but I actually got everything, but they only charged me for the dry stuff. So I got like all like the sandwich meats, like the chicken, the steak, burger patties, and all that stuff for free. So it's like, hey,
Jeez.
I mean, but at the same time, it's like I dealt with trying to figure this out for like 6 hours on a
Yeah,
Saturday.
you earned that. You
Yeah.
earned that.
So it's like I can't even go that route. So I'm forced to go to Safeway still. Now I'm starting to think like, dude, I just like go to like the next town over or something.
Yeah, I've always been a little weary of like the Instacart or some of the other stuff. It's like I always feel like, oh, if I put like produce or like something like avocados on the list, like you're picking the avocados. And,
Yeah.
like it's me picking the avocados. Like
Uh,
I take pride in picking those avocados.
yeah.
Like I'm an avocado whisperer.
Yeah.
Like
I
I know how to pick the avocado, you know?
no, yeah, and that was my biggest thing is like I live with a house full of psychopaths that like green bananas.
What?
Yeah, dude. Like I have to
I like
arm
I like
wrestle
my
a
bananas like showing spots of brown, like where it's almost like ready to
right?
like
That's
turn a
like a
sweet
normal person. No, I live
yeah.
with a wife and 2 children that like these freaking bananas that they like. I literally have to like headlock them to break them open. They're so freaking
Yeah.
green. they're like
super
borderline
hard.
crunchy. It's disgusting,
Yeah,
dude. And that's
yeah.
what. And so like, I'm like, I'm gonna order
You're not
bananas. I'm
you're
gonna
not in
get
the minority
normal.
there at
Yeah,
all.
right. So it's like I'm gonna order bananas. I'm gonna get normal person bananas, and they're all gonna
Yeah,
be
no,
mad. It's like, why don't you guys stop being serial killers and eat a banana like a normal person when it's yellow, not when it's still halfway through the growing phase on the damn tree.
You should just like spray paint them blue one day and be like, "Yo, these are like
Dude, these
really,
are
really
the
good."
bananas. The bananas.
Like, you guys,
You know they have those like red
you know how you've
bananas.
heard of, like, well, no, you just be like, you know how you've heard of like cotton candy grapes? Well, these are like popsicle bananas. These are like really good.
Have you seen like does the Safeway down there have those like every once in a while my Safeway has these weird ass like red bananas?
Yeah, I've seen those before.
Like
Yeah,
one of the days I've been thinking lately, like if they don't have any agreement, I'm just gonna grab those and be like, hey, this is all they had. Figure it
yeah.
out. I don't know what these are. Watch, but no, but see, like when I do shit like that, it always backfires in my face. They're gonna try and be like, that's the best thing ever. We need those every
Yeah,
time now.
yeah,
And but it'll be
yeah,
something that I can't stand.
yeah. Exactly, exactly.
You
It's usually
think living in a house with one woman and 3 boys, she would be outnumbered? Bro, I'm the outnumbered one with
oh, yeah.
everything. Except for video games. They love video games, so I got that on my side.
That's good.
Yeah.
Nice. That's
But
cool.
yeah, that's my awkward encounter. And now it's like, and that was last week. And now tomorrow I have to go back.
Lucky
So
you.
it's like,
So
now I feel like I
are
have
you
to
gonna
like pump
go to another
myself up.
store?
Like I'm about to go into like the octagon. Like
Dude, you
psych
should be like
myself
looking
up.
forward to like going to like Safeway now because it's like, I mean, it's just giving you like material after
Dude,
material after
bro, I
material.
have shit I haven't even told you about, dude. Like it's
Yeah.
not like this is like a one-off. Like it almost like every other time I go to Safeway, some shit. Dude, the other day I was in there and I almost was in the middle of a freaking black woman not wearing a mask and an old white couple telling the manager about it. And I was just like, oh, I'm freaking out, dude. I went to the other side of the store. I was like, I can't be anywhere on no
Dude, you're
YouTube
gonna have to
video.
start wearing like a helmet with like a GoPro on it when you go to
Dude, no,
Safeway.
I
Just
literally,
like
I was like,
videotape your encounter.
I'm literally standing at the avocado section, right? And I see the old couple and they're talking and working. They're like, yeah, and the old guy's like, there's a woman down there that's not wearing a mask. And I look down and it's a black woman just knocking out her shop and doesn't have a mask on. And I'm like, oh fuck, I'm not gonna be the next freaking dude on the internet.
Is it
I'm
mandatory
out.
in Oregon to wear it in the store?
Yeah, it's mandatory to wear it in the store now up here.
Oh, okay.
So, but I was like, no, I can't be the next dude viral because of some idiots yelling about someone not wearing a mask. Like, I don't care. I personally don't care.
Well, yeah, as long as I'm wearing one,
Yeah,
like
I mean,
you
yeah,
know,
and
it's
I know
good
this.
for me.
I know the whole stats of like it's like when both people are wearing a mask, it's like a 1% chance. But if one person's
Right.
wearing a mask, it's like 40 whatever percent chance. I'm cool. Like I got no beef. You know, I'm just there trying to do my shit. But I
Right.
saw that and like as he's pointing, she's looking up and she sees it. And I'm like, I need to get fight or flight. You know, the whole fight or flight,
Yeah.
major flight mode. I was
Major
like, and what's crazy is I probably, knowing me, I would have defended the black woman in this situation for them, these guys being ignorant idiots, old ignorant idiots. I just looked at it and I instantly just boom, flight. I freaking opposite side of the store. Today, gonna be a special day. We're starting in the deli side and we're working our way back.
There you go.
Like every time, dude, some crazy shit happens to me in the Safeway. And I got this
know.
gut feeling it only happens to me.
Well, I
know.
mean, you're a big target.
I guess. So I don't know.
Yeah. So
That's me. Your turn.
I mean, I don't have a recent encounter like yours to really pull from, but I did work with an awkward fellow once, and so I used to have daily awkward encounters with this fellow, and
Those are the worst.
I mean, it was you could almost predict how awkward it was going to be in many cases. Um, we were both supervisors, and like you know, we both sort of ran the department, and you know, we had our own sort of lanes that we stayed in, and whatnot, and before we were both supervisors, like he was actually my boss, and so a lot of this was like preemptive to what it was like when we were equals. You know, it's like it got even more awkward as we were equals because on one hand he used to kind of like give me work orders and tell me what to do, and now it's like we're trying to act like equals, and he's trying to like be respectful of that, so it got even more awkward. And the gentleman was so he's I mean he's like English is his second language to begin with, you know, and so just the language barrier itself made so many conversations a little awkward
Yeah.
to where I felt like a lot of times where I would be like, because there were times where like I'm sitting at a corner desk like right now, and like he kind of sat like to my left, like at another corner desk. So it's like I used to just be like almost like a cubicle setting and turn around and just be like, oh hey, and start talking and or asking questions about things that are happening in work. And he would look at me like he had no idea what I was talking about. And I'm just like,
Was it a language barrier?
yeah. And it's like without like him saying what or like, this or that.
Oh
And I'm
my
just like,
gosh. The
and then
awkward stare.
I'd have to like, like blah, 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 like repeat myself. And like, and then it got to the point where like by like the, third or fourth week of this, like I used to just start turning around and like, I felt like I was giving like a full report about something where I would almost discuss it like to where like a second grader would understand it and then progress from there. And then like after me talking for like 5 minutes, like he'd finally like chime in like, oh yeah, blah, blah, blah. It's like, so it's like I really just had to like speak in terms to where he could really like grasp like so it wasn't going over his head. And I don't know if it was a language thing or
Did,
what.
did you do like the ghetto sign language? Like,
From time to
the door,
yeah,
the
yeah,
door handle
yeah, yeah.
is broken.
But I have to say, like, the most awkward thing that this dude did was, like when you especially when you work with people, you see them every day. And
Mhm.
and, we the job we worked was physical, guys were in trucks, and, like, we're in and out of the yard and all throughout, right?
Mhm.
And so, like, when you pass people, you like, "Hey," you wave, you say hi, you do whatever. Well, this guy, every time you passed him, he would, like, just make this face in his car where, like, his eyes would go super big, like and then his mouth would go, like, in the position, like, as if you were trying to start to whistle, like, you would go and, like, he would just, like, do that eyes big, mouth in a whistle position, like, that was how he said hi to you, like, outside the car, and you'd be in your car,
Okay.
like
So
"Whoa, like, what is that?" You know?
I know who you're talking about now. And
Yeah.
he never did that to me.
Oh, dude, every single time, he did that to everybody.
I don't think I ever had that with him. I think he
Or it was, like, the mouth open really wide, like,
oh my gosh.
it was always just he
Okay,
had,
so I
like,
got that.
he
Like I would get a wave
didn't wanna stop and
with
talk,
that.
he would do this, like, face, you
Oh my
know?
gosh. Okay, yeah. Now I know who you're talking about, and like I'm pretty sure. I would get I get the wave with like the open mouth, big eyes, but I never got like the awkward pretend whistle look.
It was either the whistle or the open mouth. It depend.
Oh
I don't
my
know, like,
gosh.
I don't know how he decided which
See, I
one to
didn't
use
deal with
or
him.
not use, you know?
Yeah, I never really dealt with him that much because I worked on the opposite side. Uh,
It was interesting, dude. Or, like, even when you were having a conversation with him, like, you never really knew how to wrap it up because it's like, I had to, like, either wrap it up and, like, "Okay, I'm gonna go. See you later," or,
yeah,
like, it was even more awkward if, like, we were both in the office, like, he was back at his desk and I was at my desk, and I would be like, to the point where, like, okay, I felt it was, like, I didn't know, did I have to say, like, "Okay, I'm gonna turn around now and go back to my computer," or, like, did I just do it without saying something, or did I have to be like, "Good talk," or, like, like, did I have to say something to, like, make it come to a
that's when you
complete
make it. That's when you make
end?
it awkward, man. Like
Yeah, and that's what it
when
is.
like you can't find that way out, you just say something like "Go team,"
Yeah,
you know,
yeah.
or
I know, I always find
yeah.
myself, like
Yeah,
I always find myself
I
even
had
today saying stuff like, "But, we'll figure it out. We'll
I
get
don't
through
think
it."
we
You know?
ever I
Just
don't think
end the
I ever
conversation
had a
like
conversation with him outside of like, "Hey, how are you?"
yeah.
Like I just but I like
And
I
even
said,
that,
like
it was probably like a one-word answer like, "Oh, I'm good."
yeah. Yeah,
You
and
know?
I think that's why is like I never knew how to like start a conversation with him. And I mean I worked on on the opposite side of the I worked under you,
Yeah, yeah.
and he didn't really
Yeah,
talk to us
interesting
about stuff.
times, man. I mean, great guy though, like really nice. It's just, I mean,
Yeah, just awkward.
our differences just certainly made some situations definitely awkward,
Now,
so
do you ever think what his opinion of you was? Like, do you
oh, I'm
think it's
sure
probably the same? Like, do you think
I'm
he
sure
talks to his buddies like, yeah, my partner is this this weird skater bro. I don't really know like what he does.
I'm sure I'd fit a complete like California American stereotype that like, he totally
He
like,
says bro a lot, and I don't understand. We're not family. It's weird.
For sure. So, which is cool,
Yeah.
Hey, do your thing.
He says dude, but I don't really know if he surfs. This guy's very confusing to me.
I do. Hey.
Oh man, yeah. I've worked with some interesting people, but I think what makes that unique is the fact that you literally sat next to him all day, or majority of the day.
Well, it's interesting because like we'd worked with each other in so many different ways, like being coworkers, and then he was my boss, and then we were equals, to that point where it's like you would think all that time in different ways, like you become close with people or you become friends, or it becomes easier to have a relationship. But I mean, he just had this type of relationship with everybody. Like he was just very introverted and very reserved. And I don't know if it was the language barrier in him or whatnot, but
I'm sure
I'm sure himself, he was a hard worker, and it just never really materialized into a whole lot of relationships that worked for him.
I'm sure the whole position thing had a part with it too, because I'm actually dealing with that right now, where one of my colleagues just got bumped up to our leadership team, and she's actually taking over for my direct supervisor, because my direct supervisor is going on a project. And like, this is one of my good work buddies, and like so now I'm temporarily going to be reporting directly to her, which last week was one of my peers, and I'm fine with it. Like I love this chick to death. She's super awesome, super deserving of it. I know she'll do a great job. I'm like super supportive, and she knows that. But like, she's been pinging me the past couple of days, and I'm getting a little bit of difference in how we usually, like, usually it's like, yo, what's up? How was your weekend? And now it's more of like a, hey, Anthony, how are you today? And I'm like, oh, like, am I going to have to change how I like I'm going to actually, I have a meeting with her tomorrow, and I'm going to just be like, so what's going on here? Are we going to be like our normal selves, or do I need to now like put on the professional hat? Like I need some clarification, because the vibes lately are different.
It's good to have that conversation.
Yeah. So I wonder if that's something that I'm sure it's something that played into it quite a bit.
Oh yeah.
It might be, and that might be the thing with her, is she might not know that I'm hella cool with it. She might think that I'm, because I work in this department where it can be a little bit of a high school.
Yeah, certain people could be like butthurt that you got the promotion.
Yeah, and it might just be that she's not aware of how I'm looking at it, and I'm all for it, dude. Like,
yeah.
More power to you.
All right, man.
Are we done? Oh my God, we're done. It's time. Whoa. I just hit the table and that messed up my microphone. I got excited. It's Call of Duty time.
Yeah, man.
I'm in there, bro.
Books, dude.
Season 5, let's go.
Yeah. Get your battle pass. Do it.
Get your battle pass. I got mine. Get yours. All right. You take us away.
Hit us up on the YouTube, guys. Don't forget to subscribe. You got to like. We want to see some comments. We haven't seen a few there.
Mm-hmm.
Don't forget to follow us on social, Instagram, Twitter, at The Growed Up Show.
Listen on Spotify, iTunes. iTunes seems to be our popular one, which is awesome. But we're also, for those that might not know, we're on Spotify, Google, and Stitcher as well. Yeah,
and we are clipping our favorite segments of every episode. We've got a second YouTube channel, Growed Up Clips, so check that out. Follow us on there too. Subscribe on there. We're trying to push a lot of the clips on Instagram too, so if you follow us there, you'll check them out. Trying to get some continuous content out there so everybody can check us out.
Yeah, we've been rolling good last couple of weeks.
The clips is a great way to do it. You guys can't watch every full episode. At least you get to tune in on some of the topics. That really ring true to you and whatnot. So
right now live is our segment from last week on Mr. Nike Balls over here.
Hey man, that's a good one.
Check it out. That might be our best yet, dude. Oh my gosh.
Yeah,
I'm still laughing about that.
I'm still waiting for a sponsorship on my brand.
I know. Where's it at, Nike? Let's go.
Anyway,
do we need to tattoo it? What's going on?
No, I will not be putting any needles in that vicinity. We're good.
Goodbye. See you next week. Next week, episode 10. That's a big one.
Yep.
Peace.